Yeah, this is it right here. The intro.
What up? What up?
Wow, that whistle is crazy though. That whistle is going hard. Yeah.
I started recording.
Incredible. Incredible work. Incredible work. What a turn this jam has made. In the last hour, we sat in here in the pre-show of the legendary, world-renowned, infamous, controversial, most debated, honestly, most hated, but the greatest at the same time. That's right. You're here, tuning in to the one and only show. A show that you never know where it's gonna go. But we just, we go with the flow. And that's just how it is. And I got myself a rolled up spliff for the show, which means we're gonna go off the rails tonight. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to Mighty for shredding on the keys. Question mark. I love that. If you weren't here for the first hour, we chefed up this very average beat, which is now the intro song for the MightyMai show, at least for today. Until next week when we cook up another one. So show up a little early next week. And we'll fucking, you know what I mean? We'll jam out together. Every week that I decide to not be asleep, I'll be here a little early jamming until I can decide to take my own time. All right, I think I'm introing it a little too long here, but all right, let's get back into the vibe. Yeah, that bass is nice. I mean, listen, I don't want to toot my own horn, but I like that bass brought it together for me. The drums are okay, the guitar's okay, but that bass is what made me say, you know what? I think I'm in on it. I think I'm in on them. And all I need is a little bit of synth action, a real 808, and some solid vocals, and we have ourselves a little bit of a bop. But I'm gonna go ahead and give it the old pause in a millisecond here. I know it's just so good. It just feels so good. You just don't want it to stop. I don't want it to stop either. But it's got to stop at some point, right? I guess so. Just like the markets. We'll do a stop. Synth for the win. Yeah. No synth in there yet. I should have added it, but I didn't. All right.
Yeah, what an intro. What up, Mai? I saw you in there and I was curious. I saw the dough, your screen shared, and you making music, and so I clicked and vibed a little bit before getting in the show. I just realized I still have my auto-tune on, so I hear myself normally, but you probably hear me with a bit of auto-tune. Okay, that's off. But yeah, what up, Token Smart? What up, Mai? Happy to be here tonight.
Yo!
What an intro for.
All right, we need to know right now, before we start the show, but Mighty, I first of all, you were absolutely dominating it on the whistle pre-show jam. I really do feel like I want to do this a little more. I want to start a show where all I do is just literally jam and make music, but it's live. And then maybe it can turn into like I interview, or maybe I bring on another artist and I make a song with them live and I put them on the spot and I'm like, all right, let's see if you really got chops, which most of you don't, but that's okay. But that's all right. That's actually, why we're here. We're here.
I feel this a lot. Like Web3, you kind of hide yourself, or try to not be doxxed too much and stuff. But at the same time, I enjoy the vibe, of those TikTok new generation who share, even if it's not very interesting things, but with things we do artistically on an everyday basis, and our research and whatnot, the journey. There are so much interesting things and a way we could connect. Yeah, doing kind of live sessions, but yeah, intimate workshops in which
Yeah,
you can make music or do research or whatever. Do research on a particular topic on the internet, or have just hanging out moments, basically, to be more feel more close with one with each other and stuff like that. But yeah, it's kind of tricky to find the right room to do so. But
I
yeah, I
I
feel
agree
you.
with you though. I really agree with you on the one point of just it. There's something relaxing about when you come across a random live that it might not even have anything going on, but it's just like I don't know. There's something kind of
Yeah.
naturally calm about it. This is actually what I noticed about um I randomly started stumbling across these game streams where people were gaming,
Mhm.
and I was like, "Oh, why would I ever want to watch fucking someone game?" And I don't know, I fucking kind of enjoy it. It's, like, weird. First of all, like, usually they're super good, so you're watching them just absolutely dominate at this game, but also not on top of that, it's like this weird passive type of thing that's kinda strange. If
Yeah,
I
but
had to
you
say
you don't know how much I'm hypnotized into basically TikTok lives and yeah, scrolling all day to see what people do, mostly not that much. And but yeah, I don't know, it's kind of like you say, relaxing, or just sometimes you envy the carefulness, or just yeah, vibing there. Even though you can question, the this new generation type of hangouts, and how there is that much live now on the internet, thanks to TikTok. But it's an old story of live experiments on the internet, and now it feels like it really got into a mainstream point where everyone goes live on an everyday basis, thanks to TikTok. And it's kind of questionable on many levels, especially the fact that you hang out on a digital way, but not that much in real life, or really differently in real life. And well, anyway, but yeah, sometimes it's just relaxing or chill to just disconnect and reconnect on something. I don't know.
no, I totally
Yeah,
feel it. I think that's kind of where I'm at, like, as a,
just chill vibes. Yeah,
yeah, chill vibes, but, like, also, like, that's that's what, I don't know. Let's, let we I can maybe, like we can maybe, like, kinda get into it a bit. I'm sure we're gonna talk about the fact that everyone's bleeding right now. But
yeah,
but I'm kidding. Uh, I'm assuming the majority of people in here are probably so veteranized that this is maybe as maybe not that bad of a big of a deal. This is the lowest I've ever seen anything well, that's not true. When I entered the space, ETH was $250. I just didn't buy any ETH at the time. Um, Nor did I really ever. I did at one point, but that was shortly held ultimately. But yeah, it's weird during these down periods, these overwhelming down periods, and I see everybody talking about, just like just really being dramatic. To be honest with you, like and I know it's not good. I mean, I realize the game here, and I realize that it can absolutely be very serious. Even for myself. I mean, dude, like I mean,
yeah,
most of my net worth is in crypto, so at the end of the day, I have lost 90% of that. But that's okay. It's a game. I'm in it for the long term, baby. I ain't going nowhere. It doesn't matter. But but nonetheless, it's something about these time periods that really reminds me of the obvious nature of what it is because I see everybody like I see these thoughts, I see these feelings, and I just don't relate to them. I don't relate at all. I almost kind of am like, what do we do? Like I don't know. It just doesn't surprise it. Like it surprises me to see what I see, but I'm also just surprised that I'm not affected in a way where I felt like I maybe should be,
Hmm.
considering my situation. And I would feel like most people, um, are I don't know, not most people, not everybody in here. I don't really think this goes for anybody that's in this particular Discord right now, even because I think the majority of people that are token smarties are quite literally that. You're token smarties. You know what I mean? Maybe you sold the top. Maybe you just don't need it. Either way, or maybe you just you know what I mean. Like you're just not an idiot and you don't have 100% of your net worth in crypto. Anyway, but yeah, it just gets me back to just creating. Like I've made so much music in the last couple weeks. It's not even the downturn. It's usually when at the end of something where I recognize once again I wake up that I just have more fun doing exactly what I want to do, and it's the things that I most enjoy. So it's kind of what I like, what I want to start doing a little bit more of is the live jam. I want to get the games going. But nobody fucking games, dude. Everybody's out here doing the thing, but and I don't want to just sit here and game in front of everybody. So I might as well at least, do a little jam sesh. Maybe at the end, those beats, maybe I'll turn into some sort of thing and give them out to anybody who's there. I don't know. I want to figure out a show where I can pretty much just create the entire time, and it'll be like a jam sesh, but I'll also be making it into a beat, whatever it is. But I'm with it. In play TFT. What's in play? Man, am I tripping? Do I know what you're saying there? You fucking with me? Uh, what? League, League of Legends and Trust Rust. League of Legends, I've heard of. I've never played it.
Oh, I played it
Are
a
you?
lot. Yeah, back in the days.
You've played it?
Yeah.
I've heard good things. I've heard it's like World of Warcraft level of addiction. Blah 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 blah. You could
Yeah,
just play games if you
it's way
wanted.
not that
I
complex, but it's just a battlefield in which yeah,
maybe do a
you play.
battle against someone live, then make it into an NFT, and we'll battle it in our gallery in DCL. Three, Decentraland 3000. I love the battle idea. I have no idea what you mean by the DCL 38 whatever, but I absolutely love the idea of a battle. I've been fucking on. I want to do. You know how like they do the cipher battles. I love that. I would love to do that for like instrumentals or just and do it live, like 30 minutes. Two people chef up beats
Hmm.
live on stream. At the end of the beat, every at the end of the stream, everybody votes, but it has to be live. Like it has to be straight up chefed up that day live. And I know a lot of these chumps are gonna show up with fucking pre ideas in their head. Not me. Nope. I'll sit there and jam for 20 minutes until I find a progression I like. I'll give myself 10 minutes to make the beat. I don't care. And it
I
might be,
I'm ready to
and I might,
compete. Yeah, I'm ready to go on the ring with you on that. But yeah, that would be cool if there is a way to yeah, have this both live stream going at the same time and people switching, zapping from one to the other and
yep,
see the
that'd be
progression
so sick. Yeah, I
for
could feel
30
it.
minutes.
That'd be really fun. The problem is getting people who would be willing to do it.
Hmm.
Because let's just be honest, I just don't think many people have the fucking chops. And we
Oh,
could do it. We could do it. Like you could do it. I know you could do it, and I know there's other people that I know that could
yeah,
do it. The question is would they do it? That's the
yeah.
question. You take 10 minutes, I take 3 years. Sandy, the best. Sometimes you gotta take 3 years to make the best stuff. You know what I mean? Sometimes that's what it is. That's really it. 10
Yeah,
minutes, 3 years. It's all the same.
it's important.
But
It's
but I'm
important to
down with it.
find the right line. So,
Yeah.
what
But
up, easy?
yeah. But yeah, I'll start doing that a little bit more jam, pre jam, pre show jam. We'll figure it out. Either it'll be 30 minutes before, an hour before, whenever I show up, and then maybe we can figure out another thing. But I know Drago also said like I could play games if I wanted. That's cool too. I mean, I think I got to figure out. I mean, I could just do that. It's not like I really got anything to figure out. I would just want to do something where there's more than one person. But if it's just me, I'd probably just rather jam. So we'll figure it out. but that's a lot of fun. So anyways, man, what's where do we start? This last week has been pretty interesting. The last couple weeks have been very interesting.
Yeah.
But the last week, more things. By the way, nobody knows what I'm talking about here, but I've yet to listen to that, and a part of me like doesn't want to because I don't even want to experience that. But and I trust what you're saying. So, but just wanted to mention that. But yeah, so lots of interesting stuff, and NFT NYC next week. The market is completely crashing, but in the best way at the end of the day. I mean, I don't think it's so strange to me, like, because it feels like nothing's changed at all, but I just feel like it's very, I don't know, man. It's a weird thing to see because I don't really understand I really don't understand it. I feel like I don't know. I don't know. And I mean this in the sense of like the sentiment overall once we see what we've seen in the last couple weeks, which is like call it what you want, crash, a dip. No, I'm kidding. It's obviously a crash. But what is your take on the last week? Because I feel like the last week has been the most severe.
Yeah, I'm wondering if it's over or not. Like, that's my main question right now. And for once, I made my yet to be successful first swing trader move, but it's not over. So that's where I'm kind of asking myself, like, is it going to crash even further, or should I close my positions? This kind of stuff. And I'm not a trader, so I'm just as always using my instinct, and that has
Right.
been proven right over the past years. But I haven't made any move. I was just looking at things going up and down, and now I'm like, yeah, okay, I feel things coming, but will I be right? And because I've been wrong also many times in the past and made mistakes and stuff, and so I here, as I feel I have a pretty good sense of what's going on or coming, not knowing all the extent of what's going on, but just feeling the vibe. Yeah, I'm in the middle of a move, and I'm wondering, yeah, is it over or not? And I feel that it's not. That's my main feeling overall. But yeah.
I agree. I unfortunately have a similar sentiment, but to be honest with you, in my opinion, if you're still holding, right? Like if you have your stuff or whatever it is and you haven't sold yet, I feel at this point. Now this is not financial advice by any
No.
stretch. I'm talking to myself here. It makes no fucking sense to drop your stuff here. Like unless you think we are like this is the end of everything, it just doesn't make sense at this point. Unless at 2K maybe it would have made sense. At 2.4K it would have made. And I'm talking about Ethereum maybe specifically, but it just doesn't really make sense at this point because we are literally at like what 1,200 ETH. And honestly, once we went below 1,700, I knew it was kind of over. I knew I was like, all right, this is going to be hilarious. And that's kind of how it is for me. It's kind of hilarious. Like, of course, yeah, like it's going to be a little trickier the next couple months here, and I'm playing it very frugal. So I don't know. We'll see. And maybe I can even tell a bit of my story here to kind of like shed some light on the reality of the game. And I think the position that probably some of these founders are in, not to mention like small time creators. And it's very interesting to see how this will play out in the long term. But I think this is the best opportunity, not even just to like buy, which I'm not saying this is a great move right this second either, but I'm just saying more or less to just double down and triple down on what you're doing, whatever you're building, whatever you're working on. I just feel like this is the best opportunity to do so, and that's exactly what I feel like my energy has kind of done. Is it just like it jump started me again? It's like, yeah, like I know what I'm doing. Like and this fucking and all these perspectives that I don't agree with, the reason I don't relate to them is because that's not my perspective. And it kind of just reminds you, sometimes you get lost sometimes, you know what I mean? You dive into all this stuff and there's all this stuff going on. You gotta sift through whatever you're working on. But
But to me, there's two things that the two things that feels the most concerning from my point of view is first, the depeg from the stable coins that are seems to be happening, seems to be a redundant problem and completely shifts the perspective that anyone ever had about crypto since today, and everything that um, has been built on, the the belief that these things are working and yeah, solid pretty much. And where we see these days that it's now not the first stablecoin that depegged, but there's a second one and a third one, and then you're asking yourself, how far this is gonna go. And the other thing is all the people that came into crypto with the hype since 1 year and a half. Oh, yeah, 1 year since Beeple, I will count since Beeple, but all the hype since 1 year, all the people that entered this space on this helium bubble and now seeing everything's crashing is not. It's a very bad look for, or a bad feel for everyone that entered when it was that hyped up, and now are feeling I pretty bad, I guess, for even thinking of all the PFPs projects, all the marketing platforms, and that's where we see who has the strength, and where we can compare the pioneers versus the marketing geniuses, and you can feel that the marketing geniuses are way more in trouble with such crashes compared to DOG that seems to be not bothering too much of the crash and continuing to double down on creating around the culture and stuff. That feels good, but yeah, there's so much people that are in crypto right now that might have entered since 1 year, and that might really suffer and be bleeding today on whatever they aped in during the past year. And
100%.
yeah,
That's super true. I mean,
and
this all
artists,
you know,
a lot of artists also, I feel like yeah, all the artists that have been onboarded the wrong way might feel disgust about what's going on pretty much, and because
absolutely
yeah.
such a good point. That's such a good point. Is if you were introduced to this space, particularly like the music NFT space within the last year and a half, even, and like I do feel like I said, I feel like I came in right before a lot of that shit happened, and I feel like it's such an what this current moment is showing me is how like I remember ETH at 250, and I was like, oh, I don't know, like I'll just wait till it goes down. Like I don't know. I had not really invested in anything in my life up until that point. I didn't even really know what I was doing. I just had stumbled across a rabbit hole that led me to realizing that crypto is most likely the solution to whatever the fuck was going on with COVID and all that shit. That's what I thought the agenda was. That's what I realistically thought it was. I still think that's probably what it was. But not saying that. Whatever. Either way. My point is that's what led me down the rabbit hole, and then I was just like, I didn't know what it was, but like watching it that early and seeing how it all progressed, it almost makes me realize that that's not unlikely, and I feel like I also feel like comfortable with that. I don't know, with that thing, because I came in on that front, and so like imagine if you came in like the last year, ETH's at 2.5K, goes to like 3K. Everybody's you're making your first sales in NFTs and high ETH, which honestly even I kind of experienced in some respect. And like that's such a misrepresentation of where I feel like we were, because it was literally the top. And I think a lot of people experienced a lot of success in that market, and their level of their equilibrium is just completely thrown off, and it could potentially get really, really thrown off if it gets even worse. And so I do feel like that is a good, yeah, I think that is like important. I do think that is like a good point. Um, But yeah, I like I see what you're saying though. But like at the same time, if you came in the last year and this is like a moment where you're like, oh, like what is this? Like this doesn't make any sense. I feel like that's like like they didn't fully grasp what they were doing, and I don't think that that's on them. I think that that is kind of like even on like what we talk about a lot on the show, which is about some of these times. Sometimes these things come up in trends and moments in the space in all facets, and if you catch on during the trend and not, understanding the underlying reason maybe why that trend is even occurring, you can get lost in like the why. And therefore, whenever it goes wrong, you get lost because you were following the trend. You weren't really understanding the
Hmm.
underlying thing that maybe caused it. And so, yeah, it's like it's all of that. But
Yeah.
this is a great it's just a great learning lesson though. I mean, I don't know. I think this is a good moment. I don't know. I see a lot of the OGs saying this type of stuff too, and I laugh and I love it because it's like I know what they're saying and like they're just like, yeah, like get all these fucking people out of here that like are just here for this, that, or the other, blah, 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 blah. And I'm
Hmm.
like, like I really do understand that principle. And it's like funny to see it. And I don't know. I really don't think that, it's gonna be that drastic though. It's not like I think we're gonna have a mass exodus here. I think that it's just gonna be a
No.
moment of silence and a great opportunity to double down. So,
Yeah, absolutely,
yeah.
and yeah, it's more about people that doesn't yet understand what's going on, what it is, what it's for, and that will take the time. It's like learning about Bitcoin when the media was talking about it as a terrorist tool or stuff like that, and people they know about it now, they know about NFT, they know about stuff, but they for some time, the time it recovers and get maybe more developed and more mature, will be interested into learning more, but yeah, there's this distortion and this bad taste in the mouth of, yeah, okay, I know about it now, I know it exists, I kind of know what it stands for, even though I don't understand what it is, but yeah, I will, be cautious until someone or something at some point really makes me, click and understand what's happening here on something that makes more sense to me, that I can relate around me, and yeah, all that, and it's legit at some point to feel that way if you're not that much concerned with having to use that particular new system yet, because you know your life is not about it, and you're you know not particularly in need to use it today. So yeah, there's a lot of reason that I feel the last wave of hype has brought to light, also for the best and the worst, the highlighted so much stuff and so much yeah, behaviors. It's like the dot-com bubble, but you can now follow it live on Twitter, which wasn't really the case back in the days. Now you can stick to Twitter and know everything that's happening in that dot-com bubble, and
Very true.
and that's very interesting because it's really going in every direction possible. And I feel, to me, it's a good time now to double down on learning deeper about the origin and the mindset of crypto art itself, even before the music was ever really involved when it comes to tokenization and stuff. And it was already at the time, but very lowly represented. And the really the earliest mindset, and the one that the pioneers and the strongest communities around here are sharing, I feel, as a common foundation, is the fact that it is supposed to include everyone pretty much. And that, thinking of that and thinking of this past year, especially for music, seeing all the different models and different platforms, the different types of success and initiative that emerged, most of them were really uh, kind of selective, and not really, and for not really, like OpenSea or something that would, on any condition, would gatekeep everyone, or really something where you just plug and play and everyone can have fun with. And for many reasons, it's been more a concern for music than for images or stuff like that. Uh, Mostly for copyright problems, where you know are still worried that someone uploads one Michael Jackson song and try to make money off of it, which is one of the principal concern yet to have this kind of model for music. But there's other types of concern along the way as well. But yeah, it makes me feel like still that it feels weird that beyond Odious, that is that kind of open model, but hasn't really monetized it yet for these obvious reasons. Um, and OpenSea, which is not really focused on music because it's accepting everything, and the music community really hasn't adopted OpenSea as the place to be for dealing with music, and it's yet for the music community, I feel, to find the right place to adopt, to wake up every morning and say, okay, we're gonna stay there for a while, because this is the open model we were dreaming for, and that hasn't happened yet. We talked about it many times, and that's interesting to compare, yeah, the crypto art original mindset to what we've seen this past year, which is kind of, to me, I mean, it feels 99% of initiatives that were n- not really into that open mindset, and that sorry, and pretty much the opposite. We're trying to find different kind of models that were um, yeah, scalable to different types of problems, that each are trying to solve one by one and see what are the real problems behind of each of these, tackling this or this issue. And yeah, I don't know where this goes. I would be curious to see if that ever emerge or something can happen. um, of course, you can already tokenize on open models like Rarible and OpenSeas, and Object with Tezos, and there's many places where you can do so, but for music it hasn't feel yet like there's a place to go, or that is kind of in the marketing or in the, and I don't know if it's really necessary in the end. It's just about uh, the collective subconscious of people knowing that they are going there for finding great music, kind of what SoundCloud was, uh, the perception people had of SoundCloud back in the days, even to this day today, where you can go there, find great artists, under the radar, all types of craziness in music. It's open. There's monetizing systems, uh, but you go there for that reason, and that's what I'm kind of hinting to, when it comes to NFTs and music in particular. Yeah, there is not yet a place like SoundCloud that feels as open as it is, as you know I would say copyright open, more or less, or proposing solutions. And that, yeah, I don't know if you see what I mean, but basically it's a
Yeah.
good time to double down on the crypto art mindset, learn what it stands for, and yeah, analyze
Yeah.
what happened the past year throughout that lens, and filter what's been bullshit and what's gonna stay, what's interesting and stuff like that, and what's to come.
100%. Right, right. And I think like that's like what the biggest wake up call was is like what is real and what isn't. And first of all, what is what is actually real, really? You know what I mean? Like that's a we're not going to go there, but like the point is like yeah, like I think it does make sense like very quickly what is what whenever I think things go wrong. I don't know. Like it makes sense. I think things just like make sense a lot more whenever things go wrong. I don't know. it's a tragedy maybe that's the case, but I think that'll be a good it'll be a good opportunity to cleanse the mind of the noise and get whatever and let and allow everybody to kind of make those decisions. And if you do stick around in whatever respect, I do think like you're we're all we're gonna make it. And I just want to mention too also both Dragonade and Sandy's chats above. This is a while ago, but I didn't really notice them. If one has been smart with their money as well and aren't overexposed or at risk or whatever, that helps too. Yeah, that certainly helps. It's definitely, I do not fit in that category, but that's definitely true. Sandy says, true. I think a lot of us are not that faded because we're still better from where we were, especially those of us who were here before the big boom. Came in for the high times. Yeah, 100%. That's honestly, that's how I feel. And I came in probably a little bit. I came in on obviously later than the majority of people in here, but I still feel like I came in at a time where, and I look at it more of an investment of my time rather than an investment of anything else because I didn't really have much at the time, so it was more or less like a matter of just investing the time in the space, um, and just continuing to do what I do, which is just make music and fucking create and just figure out what was the best method of you know using that and building it within this. And it just so happened that I hadn't used any of that stuff yet, so it was a fresh slate. But I do agree, yeah, that's true. That's why it's tricky if you came in the last year, because it's very very unlikely that somebody that came in the last year is really somehow doing better today than he was a year ago, um, in whatever respect. But that's not necessarily true though. If you took it seriously and you're really like doing what matters, I think it's just like all about just connecting. Just figuring it out. Really, that's it. And you don't even need
Hmm.
to be connected. You don't even need to be that connected. You just need to just be paying attention, researching almost. Like you could be in the shadows and still be doing more than people that are in the spotlight, so to speak. Like so much easier. So, um, yeah.
Yeah.
Can't remember what I was gonna say, but yeah. What were you talking about? Or was that what we were talking about?
Yeah. No, I mean it's been as well so interesting to see how everyone evolves during this past 2 year. Like there's so many different profiles and behaviors in the space, in music especially, that yeah, it's very uh, what's the word? But I mean it's been really inspiring, inspirative,
Inspiring.
inspiring. Thank you.
Okay.
To see, yeah, and to learn from that much different, yeah, people and backgrounds and cultures. It's been mind blowing. Sometimes you kind of FOMO like how everyone did so much things, and at the same time we did our thing as well, and there's nothing to be ashamed of. But
100%.
yeah, you
We did.
just realize there's so much to do and to explore yet, and to connect. Yeah.
100%. And honestly, I think that's a good point. Is we have really been exploring and experimenting and trying, and I feel like in a lot of ways too. Both of us have been a part of a lot of things that I think are have really like in particular music. Obviously, not really in the broader scale, but in the niche aspect of music, we've been a part of some projects that I think have really moved some things in a direction, whether they're positive or negative. I just think that's a good thing, a good sign. It's so small. It's like it's crazy that we're here. I think sometimes I'm like blown away that we are here, all working on projects that are all realistically going to be somehow legendary in some respects, even if it's not legendary now. I think it's weird because I feel like this is still such a. It's and now that I know we're crashing, it feels like that even more because when everything's up and everybody's fucking making money and shit, I don't know, dude. It's like, yeah, I don't know. It's not. It doesn't feel as fun, but like it's gonna feel really fun the next time we go back up, which might be 2 years. I don't know. You guys tell fucking me. I'm gonna be here either way, but let me tell you, by the end of that 2 years, I'm gonna have fucking nothing left except for music. I'm kidding.
And
Plenty of projects, guys. Plenty of projects. We're
if
having a
you
good
want
time. We're having
something fun, I've seen today, is the Winklevoss twins. the one that supposedly originated Facebook, and then now are have the Gemini Exchange and Nifty Gateway. It seems
Right.
like their latest idea was to form a rock band.
Oh, sorry. Hold on. I'm not gonna. I'm muting it. Oh, I don't know how to mute it. Sorry. Go ahead.
So they formed a rock band uh, just for, just
It's called
recently.
the Mars Junction.
Mars Junction. And they did a few shows. They had the whole June month booked in shows, and they are playing like, you know, classic tunes. It really feels like college vibes, rock band, and I don't know. It was kind of funny to me to see that and say like, wow. After all that, their number one idea now is to do a rock band like if they were in college and yeah, tour the USA with classic tunes and yeah, this is just Mars Junction. I don't know, it was like pretty crazy.
Yo, all right.
And
First of all, I got a question right here.
yeah,
Who is running the fucking Token Smart Twitter, dude? The disrespect is wild. I mean, I love it. Don't get me wrong. I'm just curious who's running that. The disrespect is on another level. But I mean, listen, you guys do it because you know I can. You know I'm here, and I can handle it. And I take it. I take it. Disrespect. I mean, I'm kind of joking. I'm gonna be a bit facetious. No, what you talking about? So it's Dragonate. No, it's probably Dragonate. I want to say it's a mixture of Dragonate and Sandy. Is it you? There's no way it's Sandy. If it's Sandy, I'd be shocked. I'd feel betrayed, honestly. But we'll let it go. But no. Speaking of, the reason why I brought that up was because for the past 2 weeks we haven't really been able to dive into the fun topic that everybody wants to dive into, which is me bringing a PowerPoint and trying to convince you guys. It's probably Carolina. That's my guess. That's gonna be my guess. But
so you're ready with that PowerPoint for today? That's
PowerPoint?
Is that what we are heading to?
No. I'm gonna say. Oh no, I didn't bring an actual PowerPoint. Come on, guys. I didn't bring a PowerPoint. But let me. But this is what I wanted to. This is what I wanted to do, though. I wanted to have a little bit of fun. Listen, I promise a lot of things, Dragonate. I changed my mind. All right, I'm a human being. Okay. And besides, you catch me at the wrong time during these shows. You know what I mean? I wish the show was at like 10 a.m. If this show was at 10 a.m., we'd be fucking slinging, dude. Be slinging. Then don't promise. How dare you? Fair enough. Listen, we'll have a whole show dedicated to this at one point. But if there was a whole show dedicated to it, you guys would actually have to give it a chance. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna just sit up here and get bombarded by fucking idiocy the whole time. So I mean, like, if we're down, then I'm down to do it, but I'm also not down to just be fucking ridiculed. Like, I mean, at the end of, I mean, it's gonna be fun either way. But anyway, what I was gonna say though, speaking of this thing that you just brought up, this Mars Junction, it's actually very interesting. The name is very interesting because
Yeah, I was wondering because I felt like something was interesting to understand with the name, especially from the setup of all that. And
yeah,
but yeah, I wasn't really able to figure anything yet. But yeah, do you
I'm
have something?
curious. How many people are familiar with a? So we're gonna go down a rabbit hole real quick. This has nothing to do with Web3, all right? So it's just a pre-warning. If you're here for Web3 stuff and music, we're making the music, all right? We just dropped a new song. We'll play it maybe today. Connie and I, Connie just dropped a new song. I produced it, but he dropped a new song. We're dropping each song every week, kind of teasing a project that he's put together for async. It's gonna be crazy. It is crazy. I already know it, obviously, but but yes, but whatever. So here we go. I'm seeing the chat now. Hold on. I'm trying to pull up this thing real quick so that you guys can get a glimpse of what we're about to dive into. Project. All right. So have you guys? All right. Let's do a little bit of history here. All right. So you guys know who started? All right. We would have to go back to World War II for this. Honestly, we could even go back further, but let's just go back to World War II. So at the end of World War II, there was obviously a bunch of Nazi scientists that we picked up from World War II. This was a literal operation called Operation Paperclip. Yes, Operation Paperclip. We literally, it was the operation was to actually like basically take their top scientists. That's essentially how we can boil it down. Now, I don't think that this guy in particular was
I'm very curious to see the connection with Mass Junction from there.
Oh wait, yeah, this is gonna be very interesting. Trust me, I love this.
Okay.
So, are you guys familiar with a guy named Warner von Braun?
Yes, I think.
Okay. Warner von Braun. Let me pull up a book here. Warner von Braun. You guys are honestly about to be fucked up. What's this book called though? I can't remember what this book is called. Hold up. Oh, Project. Yeah. Okay. My bad, guys. Give me a second here. I'm just pulling this up. I'm not good at this. Yes. Here we go. A technical tale. There's no way that's what it's called. Get out of my fucking face with that. All right. Here we go. Peep this. All right. I didn't mean to send that. That's like the actual link to the book. I'm just going to take a picture and send that. Okay. You guys see this?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So this is a book written by Warner von Braun. And in this book, it's a fucking don't click it. It's fine. Don't click it. I'll delete it. It's a book link. You don't need to click it. And if you want to buy the book, you can. But basically, this book was written by Warner von Braun. Now, Warner von Braun is basically a rocket scientist. And he was one of the guys picked up through Operation Paperclip. And basically, this guy is the real quote unquote founder of NASA. If you look up who's the founder of NASA, it's going to say like Theodore Roosevelt or some bullshit like that. But at the end of the day, it's basically this guy. And what's hilarious is Warner von Braun was very, very close with Disney. This is all going to make sense. Now, Project Mars was a book that Warner von Braun wrote, and this book is literally about a figure, a hero in the book that saves the world by basically moving and colonizing Mars, moving everybody and colonizing Mars. And guess what the guy's name? Guess what the main character of this book's name is?
Junction.
I need everybody. Okay, all right. Somebody already knew this. Somebody already knew the game here. That's it.
Elon.
His name's Elon. Come on, guys. Come on. Now, what are we seeing right now? We're seeing Elon trying to colonize Mars. Now, if you look up NASA, now I don't want to go too deep, but I'll just leave you with this. If you look up what NASA actually researches, most of their budget over the last 20 years, and I realize like they're technically not like a thing, but even though they still are, was spent more on water exploration than it was on quote unquote space exploration. And that's like a public fact. So just we'll leave you with that. But that's the starting point of where I want to go with this, because the real reality of the idea of what I would like to believe, it's not even a belief. I just know for a fact that it is not what they tell you. I don't believe it. I don't believe in the concept of space the way that they say it is. That doesn't mean that there aren't stars. It doesn't mean there aren't other quote unquote planets. It's just that your perception is not what they're trying to tell you it is. That's all. And that there's something else going on, and that we are in something much more intriguing than that. And it'll prove that there's not only other life, but there's more land that is inhabited by basically other humans. With most likely with most likely higher technology too, most likely. And that's, in my opinion, where we get the concept of UFOs. And if you've heard a lot of people say UFOs are UFOs, which are underwater unidentified flying objects. So there's all kinds of interesting connections between the water and this thing. But ultimately, what I believe is that ultimately, yes, Mars is a real place that we could actually get to, but ultimately we can't actually get there because we are here and they are the only ones who know how to do it. And yes, I do think you need some sort of rocket technology, but I think it's more of a submarine type of rocket technology, something that involves water travel, because that's what I ultimately believe space is water. I believe space is water. And if you look at stars through a telescope, it looks like they're blinking like it's through water. It it couldn't look more like you're looking through water. There's You really never can see a really solid picture of a planet other than like when NASA gives you one,
Yeah.
and those are like, like once again, like we're trusting the Nazis that everybody fucking claims to hate. So it's like, it's I don't know. It's a really weird twist and turn. And not to mention, Disney was essentially founded and created and founded by the same people that did the same thing with NASA. I don't think that's a coincidence in the sense of where everybody's childhood
Hmm.
was blasted with these images of space and this idea of this, that, and the other, and we were almost indoctrinated. I mean, like, I know that sounds very tinfoil hat, but at the end of the day, we gotta like break this down somewhat here. We gotta make sure, we gotta think about it somehow and say like, all right, is this all bullshit? And not to mention what we found out in the last 2 years via whatever they're trying to tell you, like UFOs, blah blah blah. I mean, dude, they'll tell you straight up now that these things exist, but that doesn't mean anything else. It's just a matter of like, where do you take that information? There's obviously extra technology that they're not telling us about. It's a matter of what we do with that. What that really means is it could mean anything. None of that means that we're on a fucking ball spinning at 666,000 miles per hour. It doesn't mean anything just yet. But I'm oh wait. I'm wait, am I still here?
Yeah, 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 I can hear you. But
Yo, but actually, you know what's funny about Dragonate's Dragonate? You know what's really funny about that episode of Star Wars? It's ridiculous. But the idea that they go underneath the water to get to other lands makes so much sense to me. Now, granted, space is involved in Star Wars, so it's not really the best example. But I do believe on some level that going underwater is how you get past uh pretty much everything. But you would need rocket technology to do that, especially if we're not given the technology that they might have, which I think everybody here would agree that there's some sort of extraterrestrial, UFO technology or just advanced technology that we could probably all agree does exist somewhere. We don't know why, we don't know where it comes from, we don't know anything else, but we know that it most likely exists.
we need to send a rope to Sandy. I think she's not hearing anymore. But yeah, just a small parenthesis. Recently, it was too much. I came across some footage of space, like a satellites one, but they forgot to remove the mice that was walking on the satellite, and yeah, it was just funny because you could imagine that it was CGI and wondering, okay, is it or not? But then you see a mice just walking on that satellite at some point, and you're like, okay, I think I have my answer there, and there's only too much of those types of footages where you can, yeah, basically figure out pretty easily that it is CGI, and wondering, yeah, why, if space or whatever else exists, why spend that much money on such prestigious uh, video edits, going so hard in trying to provide materials all across the world to make that dream happen. But yeah, not
Oh, dude,
everything is 100% perfect, and when you know where to look, it's pretty easy to, yeah, uh, debunk all the space footages that we've been ever been presented to, and yeah, it lets you wonder. Okay, I look at the sky, I see those, points that looks like through waters. I agree. I've looked at it with telescopes um, or uh, photo zooms, and I've seen many
Absolutely.
pictures. I've seen all kinds of footages all across the world. But yeah,
I want to comment on this dude's comment, which is fair to a degree. He says, "Okay, it's full speculation until you can prove it." That's true. Science is evidence based. Anything else is speculation. I'm assuming you're assuming. Like, here's the thing: believing in a round Earth in the way that quote unquote science would tell you is the most speculation possible. There is no real scientific evidence for any of that. The math that they give you could be determined in multiple ways. These are numbers that you can't even comprehend. This is the most pure speculation possible. I mean, we can hardly get basic shit right, and you think that they're going to tell you the size of a thing millions and millions of miles away with accuracy? I'm not saying that it's not even possible to do such a thing with modern tools, but the idea of claiming that that isn't speculation is, I feel like, a kind of like where I'm at with it. It's like well, they're equally speculated, and I'm just saying that I would argue that one of them is less believable. According to my five senses, when I walk outside, there is nothing that is telling me that I am on a floating rock in space, flying and being held down by gravity despite water staying flat and every aspect of my world staying flat, and everything rises to the horizon. That nothing and the stars completely revolve around the center star, which I think is the most obvious proof of what all of this could mean. They're trying to claim that we're spinning all over the place, and yet these stars have the exact same patterns and around the same center star every single night. I'm sure there's a bullshit explanation for it, but at the end of the day, like, these are things that I observe that make me feel like we are the stationary thing and they are the thing that's moving. That's what makes more sense to me. Whether one of them is moving or another is still really not even where a lot of my thought comes from. It comes from the fact that there's a lot of documentable evidence that we've been given a false representation of our Earth for the past 100 plus years, and this is by design because they found more land, and I believe that they don't want you and I to know about this more land. I think that that is most likely a valuable thing to keep quiet. If we're fighting over land in, a strip the size of Rhode Island in the Middle East, I can imagine that if there was an entire continent that was past Antarctica, we would be pretty keen to not bring it up. And in fact, after World War II, which World War II was predicated on this idea that Hitler believed that there was there was more intelligent beings past Antarctica that he claimed had higher technology. So this is literally what he believed. And then what happens after World War II? We get the scientists. We start NASA, Warner von Braun, all of this stuff. I mean, dude, it's coincidence on another level. Not to mention, then Disney comes out with all kinds of propaganda to then back up the fact that, hey, we live on a ball. And then guess what happens, guys? We want to go to the moon. And so that's what we do. That's what we do. We say we're going to go to the moon to prove and like completely do this. But what they really wanted to do was they wanted to get enough funding to go ahead and actually get to this land that they knew that they had discovered. This is my theory. I'm not saying it's a fact, but I'm saying that I think that there's just as much speculation on both sides. But I think that one side, to me, makes more sense with my narrative of the game, which is that most of the things that we're taught and told are meant to enslave our minds in ways that we can't even fathom. And it sounds so cliche, but I think that it's true. It's not easy to just like snap your finger and like change that perspective, though. So I'm not saying that, that's like what I'm trying to do either. I just think that like having the speculation on thinking both sides, I think, is healthy. Like, I'm open to hearing other sides. There's just really not a lot of things that I think really prove that particular element.
Yeah, I can feel that's my experience as well, and I have not studied that much science or stuff. I mean, I've studied vibrations. Basically, that's my thing with music and stuff, and being open to, any critique or any different types of voices, and see what weight the more in the balance. But after all these years doing active researches as well, it really felt to me with looking at different aspects of things on my own level, on the level at which I can do my own experiments and see what argument works and what doesn't. And I mean, I'm not at all at the point today where I can say, I have any kind of answer, but I still have my, checklist of my own kind of experiments that I know I can relate on and say, okay, this can be tricked or this is not. But yeah, after all these years, I'm left with the feeling that, yeah, I have more argument in the balance of manipulation, perception of the you know people across the world than actual genuine information that was presented to us into a really something genuine and educative and real with a certain sense of realness, and that's what makes me wonder a lot about, yeah, science. I'm really never against, because I can use it myself to verify things on an everyday basis, but sometimes there's things on which you cannot really verify it yourself, and you have to rely on someone saying so, and that's where it's yeah, sometimes tricky to get the best sense out of it, especially when we're talking about these large questions about things that would require us to be able to teleport to verify. But yeah.
I totally disagree with what Jesus just said. Though science is not hard. Science is supposed to be observable, recreatable experiments. Yeah, that's I. It's just not a take I agree with. And this is the thing about people who like think they understand science is like they think that they like know something that other people don't. When it's like you, I would be willing to bet that we could like probably sit down with quote unquote science, and it would probably make you look most likely less educated about it in that hour sitting. But that's not like the point. My point is like it's just it doesn't prove anything because there is no real hard science to prove any of these things that we're talking about. For example, the thing that Easy brought up, I read it a while back. Look, when you're on a boat, another boat goes over the wire after so much distance, of course you're not gonna be able to see everything. Like I think that's like the thing. Just because you can't see something doesn't mean that it's going underneath the horizon. And
Right.
by the way, if you have a telescope that goes further, you'll be able to see that boat again completely. So it'll completely disprove that theory. And that actually has been disproven multiple times. At least there's numerous occasions where it makes no mathematical sense based on the science. And also, ask a pilot, have they ever seen curvature of the Earth? The answer is no.
Never.
I mean, there's two reasons for this.
Something
Number
else,
one,
something else. I've asked someone who were working on flight simulators, actual flight simulators that they are using in planes, basically to show the data and the flight, and they never took any curvature in consideration when building these softwares. And so basically all the softwares planes are using for projections are totally flat as well. So it
yeah,
go
I
it,
mean, and
it
look, all of even what we're talking about right now, at the end of the day, none of us can sit here and prove anything. It's just a matter of like, this is a conversation I think should just open up the conversation of questioning certain things that I think are like undeniable to some people when it's like we have just literally been the idea of space is one of the weirdest phenomenons to me because for the longest time I thought that yes, the idea of flat earth was honestly frankly retarded. I was like, that is the biggest psyop ever. That is to lead the questioning down a path of fucking destruction and never to lead to anyone's demise. It just makes you look dumb is what I thought. until I actually gave it until I actually took some time to really break it down. And why I stumbled across it was a whole other conversation. That's I think why I think I found it in a way that didn't shock me is because I found it through the reason why I think I believe it so much, and that's the fact that I believe that there is most likely more inhabitable land somehow further away from our Earth, from our plane, from our Earth, whatever you want to call it. I don't know what it is. It could be a mountain for all I know. Maybe it's a giant mountain. Maybe it is a triangle. Maybe it's a square. I mean, but here's my thing. It's not a ball because it's not completed. They don't know all of the land at the very least, which is why I think the ball theory is why I'm so against it. They are claiming they know all of what's on it. That is my beef with it. It doesn't it leaves no room for discovery. It leaves no room for exploration, and it seems controlled. Like, imagine if you owned the fucking Earth's map and you said, hey guys, this little piece of land here, like, should we tell them about it? We're the only ones who know about it. I think that's what literally World War II was about. I mean, I know that, World War II has a lot of fucking factors to it, but I'm saying that was a big factor to me. And I don't think it's a coincidence that right after World War II, NASA was created. And I don't think it's a coincidence that we went to the moon shortly after that as well. I think it's all very, very coincidental, but it's not coincidental. It makes perfect fucking sense. They got the technology. They realized what they needed to do. They started the biggest psyop known to man. That's what I'm thinking.
No. You know what's funny is I wouldn't have thought that the Winklevoss twins would have triggered that deep conversation from
Hold up.
reforming a rock band.
I see Digital in the chat. in the chat.
Yeah.
He'll ground me here. He'll ground me.
Shout out to
Digital.
Digital.
How long have you been in the chat? Because I don't know how long of the rant you heard, so that you would have to understand the context.
This was
3 minutes.
absolutely
Right. No, you got no context. But like, yeah.
basically.
But no,
I talked about.
I don't believe we went to the moon. If I'm answering that question, at least I don't believe that the moon is what they say it is. It's either localized. The moon is either localized. It's either not solid, or we never went there, and it was a massive psyop. And I think there's honestly more proof that we didn't go than proof that we did go. And I think that's kind of, once again, why I'm like, it's hard for me to sit back and say, how can we know for sure about any of these things? Because there is no actual proof for it, because even the proof that they give you is total bullshit. So that's why it's tricky for me. That's why whenever we have these conversations and everybody's like so convinced that the ball is a ball, I'm just like, come on, guys. Like, it's frustrating for me. I'm just like, come on. Can we fucking open it up a little bit?
Like, yeah. This is the news. The Winklevoss twins has formed a rock band, and they are doing, covers, a tour in the USA as a rock band, and the band's name is called Mars Junction, and that's where we were looking for an explanation.
How did Connie get the fucking the CD on the thing? Or wait, did you just add that emoji to your thing? Oh, you probably just added that emoji, didn't you? Oh yeah, I thought for some reason that was like a token smart thing. I was gonna say that's fucking hard, but it's not. So, whatever. Hey, maybe we should play a track. A little pause. That could be a good pause. It's like an hour in. We're already off the rails. We're deep into the lands of the unknown, and I'm kind of feeling it. I made a nice little beat beforehand too. I mean, if you guys were here for that, I feel like that was a good intro. I don't know. You tell me. And we chatted a little bit about some things. We talked about some things. I don't remember. I'm pretty excited. Oh yeah, now I remember why. I know it's coming on later. I'm excited for that. All right. Well, should we do that? Should we do a little pause and play the new track that was dropped today? It's only a minute long, I think so.
Yeah. You want me to? I can play it.
Yeah, please.
All right.
I'll give a little. I don't know, Connie. Do you want to do a little intro? I mean, shit. We just kind of like opened up the show, or we just kind of like. You don't have to say anything, but basically, yeah. Track on catalog. Maybe we can just play it, and then we can talk about it after.
And the track is called Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not unfortunate, baby, we all crazy, no coincidence. My flow, the definition of diligence. My on the instruments, the floor price drop when you drive it off the dealership. Counterfeit the stimulus, it's all fake. For the cash, niggas turn to Scarface. Bitches wearing cosplay, Uber to the Barclays, we out here. Love conquers fear, anytime, any day. Drama king, R.I.P. to K-Slay.
Take that mask off, sun gates blast off. How the summer asphalt, real nigga, that's my dance for. It's my world, check your passport. Fuck your task force, I'm charged up. Check the dashboard, break the backboard.
Off the alley-oop, I got an attitude, ballyhoo. Breaking rules, what we came to do. Of course, they picked the wrong horse. I'ma show them no remorse. Bitches looking like doomsday. Markets crash, what a week, it's only Tuesday.
What a week. It's only Tuesday.
Only Tuesday, and my portfolio looks like shit right now.
Oh my God.
That was wild.
We talked
haven't
about
heard-
it at the beginning.
I haven't heard
But
this
we-
one. It's a smash.
Oh, hell yeah.
Thank you.
You didn't even heard that yet. Yeah, goddamn.
No.
Yeah, nice. Well, I guess it did just release today, so that makes sense. But I actually made that beat right after I listened to the Kendrick album for the first time. That was the first beat I made after my inspiration from that album. I did it. Obviously, it sounds nothing like anything from that album. I'm just saying that was when I made it.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. But the beat is very deep. Yeah, it sounded kind of new. Like I haven't felt hearing something similar from you yet, and something new.
Love that. I mean, I love to hear that. I'm sure he loves to hear that. I mean, shit, you could keep chatting. I mean, unless you're high and just want to chill, I can respect that too.
Nah, I am smoking though. I just finished one, so like I'm like in and out. Pulse. But nah, like that was you sent me that beat a couple weeks ago. The timing of the release though is just crazy. It just fits so perfectly. Like I don't know, like it's just no better time than now.
You want to talk? You want to talk about it a little bit, like the whole thing, just a little bit.
I mean, I suppose this is like really impromptu, and I mean, yeah,
just light. You know, I mean, fuck. This is family. Everybody that's in the chat right now is pretty much fam. I feel like, I feel like we're all like, if they listen to me rant, they'll definitely listen to a proper project that's coming out. So I feel like it'll be a good little switch up. I don't know.
And you know what? After the exhibition, I think I felt like stepping back a little bit, and I just can't wait before you do the drop to double down after on the energy, because I feel from the few things I've seen so far that it's really promising, and I can't wait that this energy is released out there.
Yeah, man, no doubt. It's I feel like it's been a long time coming. Like I feel like 2022 has been a really challenging year for myself personally on a lot of different levels. Like anybody who fucks with me knows that I got hacked in January to start the year. Like, and since then it's been really like a downward sort of spiral in many different ways. But I took the time to get some of these emotions and these feelings out by writing, by recording, by locking in with Mai on the production, and just, trying to use my time constructively and to get past this slump that I found myself in once I got hacked, and I had to figure out how to reestablish a new identity with a new address and how I wanted to move forward in this Web3 space, specifically with music NFTs. And so the reason why I'm using the CD now is because for the past 3 years, like I've been iterating on cassette tapes. Like that's just been my shit. Like anybody who's been following me knows that I love like nostalgia, like old tech type shit. So for a while I was just iterating on cassette tapes. And then this year I decided to fuck with CDs. And I really like the way some of these came out. So it kind of became the framework and the basis for a new generative music project that I'm going to launch on Async at the end of this month. And so everything you're seeing now on Twitter and on Catalog is just a prelude to a bigger project where everybody who wants to participate will be able to participate and own a piece of my creation. And so, yeah, that's where I'm at.
Hell yeah. And it'll be, you already mentioned that it'll be generative. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if
Gotta
you
be
want
generative.
Yeah, I mean, there'll be a couple pieces. I don't know if you want to maybe give them a couple of the pieces of the pie, because I know there's a multitude of different parts to this, and I know you went through multiple different iterations, picking what you wanted to do to kind of get it right. I don't know if you want to talk about a couple of like the attributes or some of the things that are generative about it, but you could do that. How many songs are on the project? I know we already dropped 2,
Yeah.
but yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, um, it's going to be a generative project. Yes, we're going to use async music blueprints specifically as the back end and the front end to launch this project. And I'm really excited about it. They've released 2, I believe, music blueprints on their platform so far. I know there's some artists who are in the pipeline. And, I'm looking to get this out by the end of the month. Like I said, I'm looking at June 30th. So as of right now, there's going to be 5 songs. Like you said, we dropped 2 already. It's been 2 weeks into June. So there's 3 more to drop between now and the 30th. And, so we'll just be having fun along the way. I'll be at NFT NYC talking shit the whole way. And, yeah.
You're going now? Oh, you're going now.
Don't start with me, bro. We talk offline. Like, just don't start with that shit.
Bro, I'll literally start right now. Live on Token Smart. I swear to God. You definitely told me, you were like, I don't know if I'm gonna make it. And then I was like, if you're telling me I don't know, I'm pretty much thinking that's a no. Like, it was hard for me to not think such a thing, but
well, I paid for shit already, so it's just like I'm going, but like,
I didn't even
it by ear.
I didn't even think about the fact that you had already bought a ticket. I don't even have a ticket. I would just be going on the whim. And I do think
I'm an elitist now.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Yeah.
Why does he say that? Why do you say that, Magmaster?
I mean, he should be. He should be. Let's fucking will it into existence. Let's do it, Mag.
That's an interesting topic.
Yeah. But yeah, that'll be dope. Well, yeah, I think I was a little bit on the fritz of going this last couple of days, and a lot of reasons were pulling me away from going, more or less just because my fiat is low. But and at the end of the day, it's tough to want to spend extra money, but I do think that I am gonna probably pull it together and make it happen, at least for a few days, to come out there. So I probably will still come. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I can't fucking say for sure, but like, I know I should. That's really what it comes down to.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry. I'm just like reading the chat here. I was definitely waiting for Magmaster to respond. I really want to talk about this. Like that, I kind of feel away. I'm sorry, Mai. I know you just said a whole blurb, but like, I want to know why you say that I'm an elitist. That's interesting.
Can you send a pic of the Earth is flat? Can I send a pic? I don't even know what you mean. I think you're going to be on Magmaster's show in 45 minutes, right?
Sorry, don't want to take up your time here. But yeah, I'll be there.
Yeah, because maybe you guys can dive into that, because I would be interested in that conversation myself. But I do want to, unless we're going to just combine shows, which honestly in some respects makes perfect sense. But at the same time, I don't want to, I don't want to be crazy. But can you send a picture of the Earth is flat t-shirt? Can you send the Earth is flat t-shirt? I mean, I'm down. I think that we could make, if we want to make, I'm down to make one community piece of merch from this next little drop. And if we collectively all want to make an Earth is flat fucking piece of merch, let's get it, dude. Let's get it. I would be so down with that. But what I would say is like, my world equals not round. But that's not even true though, because it might be. It's just maybe 20,000 times bigger than they say it is, which would still lead me to believe the fact that there's more land. But anyway, we won't get into that too much deeper. But good stuff. I'm excited for the project. I can't wait to hear these tracks. I've never heard them. Just kidding.
I've not heard them all, and I'm really looking forward to the drop. And yeah, congrats for the work and the mindset again, because yeah, really knowing what you've been through this year is like, yeah. Do you feel better today, or is it still?
Thank you, Mighty.
is
No,
it
I
still
appreciate that.
hard
I appreciate
to?
that. I did feel better today. I'm sorry, I just got to get this off. I did feel better, but I really need to know why I'm an elitist. I need an answer. I need an answer.
And by the way, I was kind of surprised because I got asked many times that was not the case last year if I was attending to NFT NYC, and like the first time it was nice, and then I got 2, 3, 4 people asking me if I will be there. So I was kind of thankful for the vibe. I don't know. It means a lot, even though I'm stuck there and I wouldn't be traveling, and even though it's not the conferences or anything that would really interest me, but more hanging out and meeting you party pretty much in the bar in front of the conference. That's more my vibe, but that would have definitely been worth or something I would love to. But yeah, would I wish that someday that is easier, because I really hate the reasons why I can't really travel, either the restrictions or having enough money or well, different stuff. And yeah, sorry, but I cut you.
I would no, I would love for you to come. That would be amazing. If you came, I would definitely come. Just because I
So
feel like
you
that's just an
don't?
event. Huh?
So you don't?
You don't I don't what? No, I want you to come. What? No, I'm
No,
saying
no.
if you came.
I mean, you don't go to NFT NYC, or you do?
Oh, no. Oh no. Well, you mean like will I? I probably will go. I definitely will probably end up going. I think it will be a bit of a um Hail Mary, but at the end of the day, like fuck it, dude. You know? I might just go there and just act a damn fool, get all fucked up, just contract a bunch of STDs and fucking spread them. I'm kidding. That was a joke.
Classy.
A big joke, big joke. Gross, mate. I love that. I'm sorry. You're right. I took it too far. Anyway, but hey, it's gonna be a good time no matter what, huh? Where's this show in NYC? I don't know if there's actually a show. Now, come on, now that's too far. But a show in NYC. Well, there's multiple events. It's NYC NFT NYC is coming up next week, and it's like all the fucking the big shots go there and fucking stroke each other's cocks and make everybody feel really good about what they're working on. And
But I wonder what the vibe will be after that crash, and the timing seems interesting in that way. Like, yeah, the biggest conference will happen like a week after the biggest crash.
yeah, I'm really interested to see what it's like too. I really like. I'm in such a creative mode. A part of me was like, I was talking to Will, who was gonna come with me, and he was like, "Oh, I don't really want to go anymore," and I was like, "Damn, either do I." Like, I just want to like sit back and create, and like he was like, "Why don't we just fucking do that?" And I was like, "Yeah, that sounds so much better." And then I was like, "But I do feel like there is a massive opportunity to go for myself in particular. I've never met like 99% of the. I've met nobody really that I've met, and I think like this is a great opportunity to do so and just have a vibe. And I still think I can create there, so I'll take the studio. I'll take as much of the studio as possible. It's gonna kind of be a bitch now because I have a fucking monitor now, which is so annoying. And I got these massive speakers, but I'll probably just take my other speakers. I don't know. But who cares? I'm definitely not taking the hardware though. We're gonna have to leave that guy behind. That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm gonna go there and make fucking shittier music? What kind of shit is that? I might as well just bring the fucking hardware. Now I talked myself into it. I have to. But if I get robbed, I'm fucked. All right. Well, hey, it's gonna be a good time though. It's gonna be a good time. We're gonna make some music. Maybe we do a MightyMai show, and I'm just in New York City, and Digital's with me because I'm sure Digital will be with me.
That would be dope. Yeah, if you can set up.
My goal is to get Connie so drunk that he tells me his real name, and then I fucking tell everybody his real name. I'm kidding. I'm joking.
Good times
Hilarious.
ahead.
Not that it's like, not that that would probably mean anything, but it's gonna be a good time. Listen, if I'm out there drunk, I mean, that's why like everybody who, you know, I got you know, in some respects it's a good thing, I guess, but you know, I got offered to do a couple performances, and you know, if I came out there, there'd be zero desire for me to do any type of work of any sort. I just want to go out there and get fucked up, you know, dap some people up, maybe talk some shit live, you know, if it's needed, you know, see how tall people are, you know, the basics. The basics. That's really it. Like offers of, oh yeah, we all know what kind of offers you get. I don't know what you're referring to. But
Yeah, I would have loved to do like a DJ set of the crypto music exhibition, for example. Like, yeah, drop a party with 2 hour music loud of, yeah, the vibe. That would have been a cool party.
I'd love to go, I'd honestly, like, realistically, I'd love to go there and not even introduce myself as fucking my world. Like, just go there and just introduce myself as Cody and just fucking not even tell people who I am. That would be so much more fun for me. But I mean, like, you know, I think most people
Yeah,
will
there's
probably.
different aspects. I could head into it with the helmet and, you know, wait just for reactions. That's the opposite. Uh, that's the opposite way of doing it. But yeah, I agree on your. Sometimes, you know, being anonymous is good in those situations as well. I've experienced it many
Yeah, what if
times.
I just walk up to a group of like fucking people that I know might have like an opinion? And it's like, what do you guys think of that fucking My World, dude? I hate that kid, dude.
Yeah.
Like, just like let everybody just start ripping it apart. Man, that'd be so funny. That's the thing, like, you know what I mean? Like when I'm there, I feel like I will definitely, I don't know, like in some respects, it is like, you know, the idea of like everything that's in Web3, you know, this My World, this My, it's like, it's, you know, it's a character in some respect. And I think at the end of the day that, you know, in real life, it's like, dude, I'm not playing that character. You're dumb as hell. So I feel like, you know, and maybe, and for the
Yeah.
most part, I feel like in this show, I'm not that character in a lot of ways. I
Yeah.
feel like I'm pretty much.
Either. That's same for me. But
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I think that's a good thing. But yeah, so I wouldn't want to like do any performances or anything like that. But you know, maybe chat about some things while we're there, of course. But just be a good vibe. So yeah, I think that'll be a lot of fun. If everybody's going there too, I mean, it'll be crazy. Will everybody be there? Miami's dude in Costa Rica is slaying. That's fucking so sick. We need to. I need to move to someplace like Costa Rica at some point in my life. I think that's pretty much where I'm destined. Some sort of island, something like that. I mean, there's a lot of work to be done, but that is where I feel like I'll end up. It's just, I just got to.
yeah, feel the same. But you gotta come hang out in Paris as well, do some crazy parties. That would be
Oh,
dope.
dude, I would love to. The only thing that scares me about going, I guess flying in general, I need to figure this out. Like, I don't know what the situation is with flying, and I especially don't know the situation with flying overseas to
Yeah.
Europe, and I would have to figure that out. But yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
I definitely want to do it. I mean, shit, I want to go to Italy. I want to do all kinds of shit, I guess. But like, it's just a matter of figuring that out. I don't know. I feel like it's only going to get worse too. Like that was just
Yeah,
a
that's the trick. Yeah.
yeah, that's the pretext to what they're really going to hit us with next. You know, that's going to be crazy.
That's why I'm worried about ever being able to travel in the end, but I'm sticking to some stuff. But at the same time, yeah, I'm never
Oh, I would
left
live on
with
I would live on a
hopes.
boat. I would live on a boat. The problem though is if you live on a boat, I think it's definitely maritime law, but that's technically what it is in the courts too. So I think, but like if you literally live on a boat, I do think like you have no choice at some point. I don't know though. I don't know the actual situation. That's a whole other rabbit hole of conversation, I guess. Um, but yeah. So fuck. What else is going on? I mean, we still have a nice We still have a nice 30 minutes of time left. Oh wow, dude! I just got a text. I'm live on air right now. But honestly, yeah. I don't know how, but yes. So anyhow, Schmidt. What else happened recently? We saw Min's songs go V2. Did we talk about that last week? I mean, it's not that big of a deal, but I mean, what do you think about this? You know? Like what how do we feel about another platform going with Zor's protocol? Realistically, I mean, you know, we chatted about this off air in a group chat, but you know, they are pretty much going with a catalog vibe. With this quote unquote V2 with Mint songs, Mint songs, music NFTs, and it seems they had a pretty good rollout. And kind of also brought to my attention that one of the guys is from Pittsburgh, and I was pretty shocked by that because I'd already DM'd this dude before, and I never really did any math to realize that, which I thought was crazy. But yeah, so what do you think about Mint Songs V2? What do you think? What do you think this means? Is it good, bad? What do you think? Just neutral?
Yeah, I haven't digged enough maybe to tell yet, but as far as I can see, yeah, there seems to be something really similar with the catalog vibes, with a difference where it's based on it's invite based, so everyone that is onboarded on the platform can invite other users to be onboarded on the platform, and so this unlocks way more the onboarding process of sending a submission and waiting for the core team to accept your submission and onboard you on the platform. But so far I haven't seen the platform itself if there's more differences. Is it based on one-on-one only or not?
Yeah. Yeah, it is. So I guess they basically are. It really is like a catalog fucking clone. I mean, in a lot of ways, it's just now on Men's Songs.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, like in a lot of ways, you know, so fucking obvious. Like what I mean by this is like duh, people are gonna do this. Like duh, this is gonna happen. And it more or less like means like we're probably gonna see this happen a lot more. Like what happens when sound says we're gonna do one of ones? You know?
Mm-hmm.
Like what happens when sound just lets you put your own contract into the platform? What happens when like, there are so many moves that could happen from the dev end? Because that's the thing that I really have noticed, and like I do feel like everybody you know, subliminally notices but doesn't fully notice is the fact that the things that push things forward are the devs more than anything. Because you know, you can have an idea, but at the end of the day, it takes the resource to be able to either build that or have the dev team to be able to build that and be able to build that infrastructure, that custom UI, to be able to have that experience that you want. And I think that's so important to really selling the whole package, at least currently. And I don't mean like, you know, from a marketing point from a standpoint, but from like a I guess like a legitimacy standpoint. I just think it feels the best whenever the dev is the best, like the UI is the best. Everything feels smooth. Everything feels cohesive. And what happens whenever the best dev team is basically going to win this war? It's the best dev team. I don't know how else. I don't know anybody. I don't know any other way that like unless they get a ridiculous amount of hype from artists and collectors, and I don't know where exactly that will where that hype will come from. And who knows? Maybe LimeWire, like we've kind of been teasing, launches later this year and completely takes over the market. Like who fucking knows? Like there's really no telling where this is going to go. And I do believe that I don't think it's a coincidence that Algorand is, you know, the blockchain that LimeWire is built on, and the World Cup is launching in November. Think about all the music. think about all the NFTs that could go along with that, and think about all the things that LimeWire could do partnering with the World Cup. That's going to be, I think, a moment for LimeWire. I do believe. I think that there's going to be some serious marketing going on with music and partnerships via the World Cup and potentially players. And, I've thought about this for a while now, where it's like, what if I'm a music artist and I partner with an athlete, and every single highlight reel, he uses one of my songs, and we use this as like an NFT, and we use these as like fan tokens, and you can start to sell things like that. I think partnerships like that could start to happen. I think there's a lot of potential with the combination of sports and music. And I don't think it's a coincidence that we're seeing these two being built on Algorand and all launching at the same time. I believe LimeWire launches at the end of July, maybe the end of June, but I think it's the end of July. And then, a couple months of it getting its feet wet. And then boom, here comes the World Cup, partnerships, all kinds of stuff. We're going to probably see some momentum happen there. So I don't know. Maybe it's a complete flop. Maybe they fuck everything up. But I mean, to me, they can't. They cannot have fucked this up. They're using a token that I believe is most likely, one of the Illuminati coins, so to speak, the ones that are probably regulated. Then you also have the fact that they're partnered with UMG, Universal Music Group, which is absolutely massive. And yeah, I don't know. These things these things can't be ignored. So they're obviously going to make an impact. What kind of impact? I don't know. But that's why when we see, these Min Songs V2 basically copy and catalog, we see how fragile these platforms really are.
Mm-hmm.
If there is an infrastructure of financial resource by these other companies who can come in and basically take the market share by just rebuilding it, and maybe rebuilding it better. I mean, in a lot of ways, that's really what it comes down to, is like, whose dev team is going to be able to build the best and the fastest and be able to always adapt to what the market really wants, and also what their branding is. I think Catalog still holds that one of one top tier spot, but in recent months, man, we have not seen serious one of one sales that aren't under 1 ETH, which for a long time it was 1 ETH or over for a while. And I think, and that was when ETH was way higher. So we're seeing now, and it was always all over the place, but really we were seeing some consistent sales over an ETH, but now we're seeing that totally change. And part of that came from Sound, coming out with this edition model and making those sell out. And then collectors got more interested in that idea. It was like, oh, I can collect something for 0.1 and still be a part of this community, because artists don't know how to value their one of ones via their editions. So the collector still feels like they're getting that early buy-in anyway. So it's still going to feed that investment scratch at a cheaper price at the end of the day. So I think like the idea of it needs to be, there's still so much iterating that needs to be done before people figure out these models and figure out the real payment structures of how communities can be built with these types of NFTs. And these platforms are currently the current things moving the market. And to me, that's why I'm saying, it's going to be the dev team. It's going to be the financial infrastructure. It's going to be like the way that they can pivot to a market and or create a market based on hype, which Mint Songs, I do think, did a pretty good job last week when we were talking about it, right? At marketing enough of this V2 thing to get us to discuss it and see it. But most of those prices also are like, 0.1 to 0.5. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but it's just a matter of like, that's the new one of one market on V2. Whereas like I said, on Catalog a month ago or 6 months ago, we were seeing a consistency of 1, 2, 3, sometimes higher sales. And I think, these are things that we should be paying attention of, and how that the market perspective is shifting from collectors to the creators, and what these platforms are capable of doing. So we'll see. Who knows? LimeWire, like I said, could shake it all up, do some crazy shit, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, that's still interesting to see. Yeah, the music branch of Web3 spending way more time on pushing particular models rather than something open, because it seems, after all, it's so fearful for any investor or developer or someone willing to dive into that, to confront the issues of an open model for music that I don't know, it highlights that even more, to see, and I agree with you with the fragility of, okay, this is just the competition here is playing over a detail in the UX or something like that, because yeah, it seems very similar, and it's about, yeah, who's going to tackle the best this particular model. And so in the same way, you could see someone raising as a competitor to sound, and maybe that is something like LimeWire is aiming to do, or it could be anyone else, but still there's this focus on building platforms that use a particular model to function, that is, to me, far away to what will make the music click more with what I kind of talked about, with something like a SoundCloud model where it can onboard everyone, and then uh, you know happens what happens. But yeah, I don't know, it's really striking me to see I'm looking for the word, but the the reticence, I don't know if that makes sense, but the fear of building something that would be, in terms of marketing, worked like one of those platforms, successful in terms of marketing, but is oriented toward something in which everyone can connect to when it comes to music, that has a Spotify like aura, something, yeah, where it's the place where it's going to happen, because there are the different limitations of choosing particular models when it comes to NFTs are really limiting to me the audience, the general audience, because it doesn't represent really what NFTs are and can do in the future. So that's why I'm myself more laying onto protocols rather than onto platforms yet, because I don't know, there's this open mindset that is yet to be unlocked in music. I feel that has been unlocked in different areas of NFTs, and especially in the visual, in the digital
Yeah,
art, visual digital art. Yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say you sparked a thought, which is pretty much what we're saying, but like doubling down kind of is the idea that um fuck, I forget what I was saying. I forget where I was gonna go with it. But you were saying something and it sparked a thought, and I was like, yeah, that's what I'm gonna say. And then I fucking forgot it. God darn it.
About the open model, or
Open model. Oh, yes. Okay. It actually made me think that maybe we're wrong slightly in one respect. Um, that's funny, Mag. That's funny. But you distract me more. Come on. What I was gonna say is maybe we're wrong in thinking that we are so easily shepherded into these platforms. Maybe it isn't the platform. Maybe it isn't the marketing. Maybe it isn't the branding. Maybe it really is our excitement towards the tools being used correctly. And in fact, anybody who builds the tools correctly will receive that quote unquote market share. And I do believe on some level that does make sense to me, because that would add up, because I do think that actually would make more sense. I don't know. In short, yeah, that just makes more sense to me. And that's just that I do believe that we most likely we aren't actually that persuaded by a platform. We are more persuaded by the way that a platform properly, once again, has their dev team creating the UI and the UX or whatever it is, and all of this experience. That is the real unlock, no doubt. And the more like a video game, the more like a quote unquote metaverse it feels like, the better it's going to be. And I do believe that in the future, that is going to be the game. And once again, that's why labels or funds will be required in the future, because the standard will be much higher for what is it probably assumed should come with a package of how this game will be created. And every artist will do their own thing, but I do believe that labels will probably try to facilitate that in some respect. So yeah, I do think that maybe sound could just like, for example, sound or catalog, it doesn't make a difference. These are the two most prominent, you would say right now, at least, music NFT platforms. And it's like, all right, well, what happens when one of them, what happens whenever somebody else could easily come in with the same tech, build it flawlessly, and ultimately just onboard the right artists and just say, go crazy. And it could shift everything in a second. As long as there's new tech that makes more sense and feels better, people will go towards that. And I think that's kind of where my new perspective was coming from whenever I was hearing what you were saying is that it makes more sense to me that we just are fickle and we're going to completely go back to go towards whatever is the smoothest, whatever's the best. And we knew this in some respects, like subliminally, that's what we know, and that's why certain things work. But shows that when I actually think he gets all confused and disoriented. I love it. But yeah, I do think yeah, incredibly, there's just still so much to be iterated on, really, like experimented with, tried, and just witnessed, and then realistically built. But I'm pretty strong on the conviction that of what I was kind of saying, of the sense that in the future it will be the ones who can build it and they will come. Like that's really what it is, especially for the next 2 years. Because then you're just going to get more funding to build it better. I really believe that. You could everything just restarted. That's kind of how I feel about technology. Everything just kind of restarted, but the life cycle of everything now will go incredibly fast. So, because I don't know about you guys. In the last 2 months, I've seen more bullish news on certain things like gaming in blockchain or partnerships or this, that, and the other. And I've seen nothing but downside in the prices. So it's like, I don't know. It's not like there's a shortage of good news and a shortage of good information being things being happening. So I think it's only a matter of time before these things really start to come to fruition. And once somebody gets it right, everybody will be like, oh yeah, that's what it should have always been. And it'll just be this massive thing. But I don't know. We'll see. Not everybody's gonna do that, and I guess you don't have to do all that. But yeah, damn. I'm ranting. Where we at?
No,
Where we at on time?
we're good. We have a 15-minute left, and yeah, no, but that's curious to see those platforms evolve, because I've been exploring Minsong V1, and it was more, unique. It was not like a copycat or of something already existing. At least it was kind of a copycat of a NFT marketplace in some regards. But now it feels way closer to what catalog actually is, to what it was before, and what it seems, the perception I had from it before. And so yeah, that's quite interesting. I guess in their office, there might be someone who is aware that it is a copycat, and what they think about it, and what's the perspective behind it, what's the strategy basically, because it looks really close, and I'm quite surprised.
Yeah, I mean, I really am not surprised in some respect. I think what surprises me is that once again, it's like how quickly people are like quick to go to that or try it out, because it shows even the artists have no loyalty to these platforms. None.
Yeah.
That's actually the thing I think I noticed the most. Even with sound. Even artists that dropped on sound in the first preseason, Genesis, whatever, don't seem to have some undying loyalty to sound where they're doing something special. Like, first of all, rightfully so. I'm not saying this is wrong. I'm saying like it just shows that, like, even back to our point, like, it's not the platform. It's just the platform's using the tech at the right time in a way that does take the market share because nobody else has built this yet. Nobody else has made it this simple yet. Nobody has done that yet. And I think that is the most important thing for user adoption is simplicity and something that clearly makes sense to the collector so that the UI and literally the dev team builds the experience. Otherwise, I just don't believe that it's really am I breaking up?
It's not breaking up, but it feels like there's an auto tune from the Matrix that applied to your voice. And do you hear
Oh,
me
really?
clearly? Yeah.
There's auto tune on my voice.
There's a glitch that feels weird. Yeah. Like you were losing
Oh,
connection, but we could hear you all throughout.
floopsy going floopsy. Speak.
But yeah, I agree with you about the loyalty. Like, do you hear me good?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I was gonna say, I don't know where I was going with that. What was I saying?
No, but I agree on the artist loyalty, where artists be like, platform testers. I see, and it's
Yeah.
been the case for more than a year, but even more recently, that they are dropping from platforms to platforms, kind of like artist testers, and yeah, that's a symptom of not seeing really any kind of loyalty towards any platform yet. If beyond the loyalty that their creators or their community, when it's backed by an artist in particular, um, accord to them the credit of being a fan of the platform. But that's mostly marketing build, community
Yeah,
pumping
right.
type of stuff.
I think that right there, what you just said, is the most important part. These artists are not really that big of fans of the platform. They just are a part of the marketing that they then hope will then sell their NFT to make them money. Like,
Mm.
that's just what it is. Like, and they're grateful that they're actually able to drop on the platform. I mean, there's nothing else to it. This is why the technology being gatekept is laughable. It's actually laughable because I'll tell you what, if I fucking facilitate a way to find a way to build one of these things, I mean, what are we talking about? I mean, what do you need then? What do you need? You don't need any of this. And so that's why I'm kind of like, it's almost like during this conversation, I've come to the realization that it is very obvious that it isn't the platforms, it really is the tech, and it really is the devs. And I've been saying for a while now, and I know we've had a lot of conversations off air where it's like, if you had a dev, you can pretty much dominate because you can basically build what everybody wants to do. And it's really that's, I mean, you can be as creative as you want. And that's why having a dev is super, super important. But they're super expensive, and you need to like have one that's willing to kind of work through trial and error because this is a new game and new ideas and blah, 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 blah. So, but yeah, listen, if you're a dev out there though, we're looking. I'm sure we could get a team fucking budget together, even though I'm fucking down. But I'll give you I'll give you everything. I'll give you everything. Let's get it. But then again, I'm also trying to get my sister involved. She's just begun, but she's probably got a ways to go before she's doing anything of value. But we'll see. But we will see. Come on, Mac. Come on. First of all, you know what's so funny is I've never fucking said that the world was flat. That's the funniest part about. And I know you're fucking with me, so sorry, Mac. I gotta make this point. Sorry, Mac. But here's my point. If you debate what the shape of the earth is, everybody just assumes you think it's flat. That is why they have that there. It's to literally make it super dumb. The super you question it, it's like, oh, well, this is the dumb thing. Like, this is obviously not the answer then. Like, you think it's flat, like, and then they show you that stupid ass gif where the boat is going off the side into whatever. It's actually like that to me is actually flat brained, smooth brained fucking thinking. Like, nobody actually thinks that. It's obviously a little more complex. It would obviously have to be thought up, and there are real reasonings why this stuff gets questioned. It's just that, and like I said, Mag, I know you were fucking with me, even though maybe you're not. So either way, you can take it how you will. But the point is, What about your chest? Talking about flat. What about your chest? I don't know. I mean, honestly, listen, I'm a thin guy, but I would say my chesticles are actually not bad. I mean, I got some decent titty. I got nice nip. Is this what we're talking about right now? I mean, I'm down. But either way, yeah. But it's complicated. It's not the place to do it. But it's exciting and it's fun. But I just wanted to bring that up. It's just like whenever somebody questions anything, you just go to the complete other side. Oh, like you must be a fucking this. It's like no, it's a little more. It's a little bit more tricky than that. And that's the game. They want you to just divide and go to another side and then say rah, rah, rah on this side instead of rah, rah, rah on that side. And then everybody's fucking confused. You know what I mean? So, yeah. Easy. I don't know what fucking gibberish you're talking about. Not a single idea, but I love it. But nonetheless, yeah, so hey, shout out to the devs again. They're the real rock stars. You want to know why there's no devs in here? Because they're fucking building something right now. Taking all of our ideas and fucking actually making them into something. And they're stealing everything from. No, I'm kidding. But listen, why don't we get a big group fund together and then fight over what gets built first? That's actually the funniest part too, right? Yeah. If we did get a big group fund together, we'd probably only be able to build one thing, and so everybody would have to agree on what that thing would be, and that would be difficult.
Something I add up to that is that devs are not, that much of a thing without the artist feedbacks, and that's really what makes them able to compete, because without this feedback there is no, and that's why I think we see emerge kind of a market of artist testers, self testers. It's kind of company strategies, as entrepreneurs that artists are, to stress test all these platforms and see what the weaknesses are, and where it works or not, for if it scale or not for them, or for even the world in general, following the quest of making music NFT click across the world toward a model that works, or that makes something go a little bit more mainstream about the system. And that's interesting to see.
No, I agree, and I think it is interesting, and I know we're wrapping it up. Oh, we got 4 minutes still. I was gonna say, this is kind of a side topic, but yeah, definitely something we should definitely take seriously is the dev conversation, and really start to, I'm gonna try and get my fucking sister involved. We're gonna see. But so I think Connie's still in here, and I think this is only relevant because he's in here, but also because I haven't listened to this yet, and it'd be hilarious to do it live. So that's what we're gonna do. So I have a so basically every song in my world that I kind of officially mint and turn into a thing is has this ability to have official remixes. And these official remixes are curated either by me or the one of one holder. Now, there is another way that these can be curated, but this is not yet done because I have not released the editions yet. But the idea is that this community will be able to curate these remixes, and they will have to pass the slapper test, which means they have to fucking slap. Now, I just received a remix for the song that Connie actually collected, and this is the song called Leave off of World One. The gold one of one is owned by Connie here, and I just got back a remix. I have not listened to it yet, but he's tweaking. He just DM'd me. He DM'd me before the show and said, hey, here's a link. Still needs some work, but I enjoy. And then he DMs me right now, and he just said, we need to drop this officially. I can't stop listening. He's really hyping it. He's really hyping it right now. So I'm going to pull it up. Okay, hold up. All right, I'm going to pull it up, and I'm going to stream it. I'm going to stream it into the chat, and we can listen to it together. I'll tell you what,
Let's
guys. If it
go.
doesn't pass the slapper test, I'm gonna be But let's see what he's got. Let's see what he's got. Hold on. Let me make sure I don't got any fucking crazy tabs open. Oh, we're good. No crazy tabs. No crazy tabs. So I've made. Yeah. All right, we're good. You never know, guys. You never know. All right, here we go. Let's hear the slapper. Hold on. Here we go. I gotta share the screen. Guys. All right, there we go. It should be good now. It should be good. All right, here we go. Tell me if say in the chat if you can hear it. But if not, we're just gonna play it. Here we go.
Let's go.
Okay. All right. I'm curious. Before I say anything, what do you guys think in the chat? What does everybody think? If you know the original song, I'm curious what you think about this one. Oh, by the way, it's 8. Fuck, my bad. I guess it's time to go fuck myself.
Yeah, we
I have
can
mixed
wrap this up right now. Maggie's in the place. Connie's in the place.
Yes. But hey, listen. I just don't want to take any more time. But I just wanted to play that, to kick it off. But Mighty, yeah. Do you want to close us out? I just want to. But yeah, I appreciate everybody listening to that. I like it. It's a little interesting. I think the bass is crazy hard, but it's interesting. Definitely a different vibe. That's what we want. But yeah, maybe some thoughts. A little interesting on the mix. I don't know. Here and there. It's a remix for a reason. It's supposed to be different, but. But anyway, all right, I'm gonna let you guys take it away. But hey, thank you for listening. I appreciate everybody in the chat. You guys are fucking the greatest of all time. Mighty, you're the greatest of all time. If you want to close us out, please do, because I'm mute. But yeah.
But yeah, thank you, Mai. And yeah, it passed the slapper test for me. I see what you mean, but yeah, it's a remix. That's the game, and that's fine. It's a crazy energy in this one, so I vote for it. And I love the dimension you do with the drop and the remix and anything. So I'm gonna leave the floor for Mike Master and the guests tonight. This sounds like a very promising conversation. And thank you everyone for listening and vibing with us tonight. Thank you, the Talking Smart team, the crew, and shout out to Digital as well. Bye bye, everyone. See you next week. Maybe live from New York and NFT NYC. And I'm out. Love you all. Thank you. And bye bye. Mike Master, you've got the floor.
Thank you so much. Hey, all much love to Vax, of course. You know I like to rub it in a little bit, man. You're just an amazing host, and the shit that you can throw sometimes is so true, especially about the devs, man. That comment really blew me away because you were right on the spot, man. You were absolutely right. You still around?
I am.
There
No,
you go.
sorry, I was muted still, but no, I appreciate that, dude. Thank you.
Yeah, no, there's sometimes, man, you can throw some things out there that's just, actually on point, and I think that's one of them. The devs, devs are
Yeah.
ahead of the game, and they have an edge that we don't have. And Mighty, of course, man, you can stick around because this is about this, and it's Entity Sphere podcast is actually going to be some OGs in the house. We got, of course, Digital. We got Eason that's going to be coming up. We got Mighty Moose in the house. I know Skinny will try to make it. It's pretty late where he is. It's like 3 a.m. in the morning. He said he would try to stay up, so let's hope he gets in. Dragonite, maybe you can let me know. I know Mighty Moose was having issues with the Verify bot there. Let me know when he's able to get in. And of course, Connie, I know you really want to jump into that elitist comment, but I kind of said it because you were stating that you were going to New York. But trust me, I don't put you in that wave of elitist, but I'll be happy to talk about it. And I think I think that's a major problem in the entity sphere, and I think you can relate to it. From the recognition of those that have built, and also, of course, we got spherical art in the house as well that will be coming in. He was also a big part of the Scent platform at the time. But just to come back to what I was saying about Connie, I think there's this little group of artists and content creators that come back back in the 2018 2019 era that kind of snubbed a lot of people in the community, and they became what I call the elitist. So and no problem, Digital. I was actually talking about the elitist comment, saying that you're really not into that group. But when you said you were going to New York NFT, kind of threw it out there. But we'll for sure cover that as well. Also, today I invited Eason to be my co-host. Eason and I are kind of the same. What's up, brother? So I know Eason is having issue with his connection. He was stating to me. Once you get in, Eason, I'll let you talk. I was stating that Eason is the same cloth as me. We were like almost like content creators in the days, and always supporting and embarking new people into the ecosystem. I know Mr. Digital is in the house. You can unmute yourself, of course, and join in. Like I stated, also let me know, Dragonate, when Mighty Moose is able to settle that verification.
Hello. I would just say, Matt, you don't have to call me Mr. Digital. That's very extreme. Connie is fine, or Digital is fine, but yeah, that's good.
Yeah, I
Drop the senor.
Jump the senior. Yeah, no, absolutely. And at the same time, I would probably say Connie because the older crowd got to know you under Connie, and then you had, tell me if I'm wrong, you were only Connie at one time on Send, then you became Connie Digital, and then took over the digital username, right?
Yeah, I guess from your perspective, I've always been Connie Digital before Scent, but yeah, I use Connie as my username on Scent for sure. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know if you heard the beginning of that elitist comment, and I know you wanted to get into it. I'm sure we'll be able to dive in that subject for sure. And I know you would have a word or two to say on the subject. I know Mighty Moose right now is just trying to figure out the verification bot. He doesn't utilize Discord as well. He doesn't use Discord actually. So we're probably going to have him soon in the house. He's working with Dragonate to get through that mark. I know Eason is there. I don't know, Eason, if you can unmute yourself and join in as well.
Yeah, is my audio okay now?
Perfect, dude. Go ahead. The floor is
Great.
yours.
Oh man, it's just thanks for the invite today. It's really special to be hanging out, hooking up here with some of the old scent OGs. It's been a while since I've gotten to touch base with Mighty Moose, besides, seeing a tweet here and there and stuff. And we used to kick it pretty hard, all of us back in the day. And yeah, to hang with Connie, hopefully Skinny will jump into. I think this is going to be a really fun one.
Yeah, and the reason I also wanted to, what a coincidence too that we're going through this, this bear market when, if we go back in late 2019, when, most of us, we saw Ether that year hit around 1,300, and at the end of the year went below $90. We've been through this storm before. And it's kind of for me, it's good because it cleanses a little bit the community. It really, it flushes out a lot of bad stuff that's been occurring right now, with all these PFP project coming left, right, and center. I think this could cleanse the community a little bit.
It does kind of act as like a kind of like a cleanse, flushes out some of those, just kind of going for the bag people because the bags aren't as available to stack when the market's like this. I feel bad for people that maybe came in over the last wave, near the top of this last cycle, could be hurting now. But yeah, having been through multiple of these cycles, it's like looking, and after, 2019 and then again and what, like late 2020 was it, and then again in 2021 probably, all those, looking back, after the market recovers, every time I'm like, damn, I wish I had more to buy in when we were down around that floor. So depending on when you came in during these cycles is a lot of where you'd look at this type of thing from. And yeah, I think having a bunch of people here today that have seen this before might help ease some of the people, if there's people with us that are newer to it and are feeling like really frazzled right now. Whereas for me personally, it doesn't really shake me anymore when I see these cycles come and go.
Now, Ethan, I'm going to bring back some memories from you, and I'd like after also get Connie in it. But Ethan, so basically, what this is, if people are listening right now, if you're wondering, okay, why these OG reunion? What is it all about? Is that there's a big group of us that kind of met on this platform that was called Scent. I'll actually share the beta.scent.co. So it was on this platform that we kind of met all these, all of us together. Let it be Ethan, let it be Connie, let it be Mighty Moose, Skinny, Spherical Art, Mighty 33. So many of us, actually, that's where we met and starting, to build our own things here and there. Without a doubt, with all the names I just named, Connie was such always ahead of the game compared to us. And what do I mean by that? Is that we were utilizing the tools that were available to us. And Connie used to make posts like all of us, but every time Connie would post something, it would be something that we had never seen before. One of the best example, guys, is if today we know about community tokens, right? So let's bring up the biggest token known for that is the whale shark community. Whale has a token, went up in value and back and down. But if we have that today, it was because there was people out there that were building that were able to provide these content creators or these creators with how can I say that? With something to give out. Like Connie was an artist, he was a content creator. Bradley with Roll at the time was building this new platform that would create these contracts with a 10 million distribution of a token that you could create yourself. Now he needed people, to go on his platform, to utilize it in a way, promote it, and also, to provide some type of use case on it. Connie took it to another level. I remember the first newsletter that he had made where you could actually go get, the Connie Digital, which is called HUE. And he was the first one to introduce us to it, right? Then Skinny rapidly also got in with Skull. But I remember the first time I ever held or ever, found out about Tri-Roll was through Connie. Connie, tell me, how did that come about? Because I know today you may, and this is my opinion, I could be so wrong, but it seems to be a dark cloud, over that project and that collaboration. But tell me before that, how did that happen? How did Brad come to you? How did that occur? Because there's without a doubt you were one of the major, artists that embarked on Tri-Roll and provided them some type of traction and success in a way.
Yeah. Shout out to Roll, shout out to Bradley, shout out to Sid, shout out to Scent. I want to talk about all of that. I don't remember how it happened exactly, but Bradley reached out. It was either through Twitter or through an email. And I don't remember exactly what he said, but I just remember after reading the email, I went and did my research. And there was like this article on CoinDesk speaking about how Roll just raised some money. And one of the investors I read was Gary Vaynerchuk. And I was just like, oh, I know who that is. And that seems pretty interesting. Okay, so let me delve deeper. So I just kept doing my research, and eventually I got to the point where I agreed that this is something that was interesting, and I wanted to participate and see what it was all about. I had the opportunity to sit down with Bradley. He came down here actually, took me out to dinner, had a conversation, and it just felt right. So I launched Hue in August of 2019, and I guess as they say, like the rest is history or whatever. But the dark cloud that you speak of, I'm not sure exactly what you mean by that, but I do kind of feel like Roll as a platform, as a company has, it took a hit last year in March when it got hacked, and it lost a lot of social tokens for a lot of different communities, and it hasn't really recovered from that point, at least from what I've seen. I just actually saw yesterday a tweet from Consensus, the CoinDesk conference. Bradley was on stage. He was talking to Jess Sloss of Seed Club, which is actually a social token incubator that was actually inspired by what we were doing with these social tokens at the time. Anyway, that's a whole other story. But I say that to say Bradley is still out here pushing the narrative. So something's going strong, right? So shout out to those guys. Hopefully we see something here soon from them.
Well, before I'll tell you why I utilize the dark cloud, and it seems I was wrong. But here's one point. What was so weird here, Connie? Here's the thing: you were known to be a one-man show, meaning that you would not incorporate other people's. And you know what I mean? Like you wouldn't jump on a partnership easy. Like you even said it yourself. You did the research. Bradley had to come and meet you in a way. So that was so innovative and so different, and kind of a shock for the Sen community to see that you had tied yourself to a third party in a way, when you were always, you always like to control your brand and your content. You always wanted to make sure that what you pushed out, you got the recognition that you were the person behind it. So that's why when I saw you utilizing Roll, I was the first one to go, okay, what is this? If Connie's jumping on something like that, and usually he does not, that got my curiosity really early on. The reason the dark cloud I was talking is that it, for me, as a user and as an insider and as somebody that that eats content on a daily basis, I felt, and this was my personal opinion, and you can surely not share it, I felt at one point like you kind of were pushed aside for bigger names. That's how I felt. That's how I had seen it. So that's why I utilized the dark cloud. But at the same time, I could have a really wrong angle to it.
Well, I mean, we all watched what happened, right? Whether it was spoken about publicly or privately or not at all, we all watched what happened. I had some success with something, and people took notice. And, it must have been a good idea because, people... imitation, they say, right, is the sincerest form of flattery, right? So we saw a lot of people spin up social tokens. Nothing wrong with that. I'm not, that's what it was for. But if if you had bags and you were considered a whale and could be of some sort of financial benefit to said company role, then maybe you get I don't know, priority or first billing or whatever the fuck, right? There's politics involved or whatever. It kind of is what it is. Like I know what I contributed to the space. If you were around, you understand what I contributed to the space, and it kind of is what it is. I sent a tweet the other day where I said that NFTs are better at being social tokens than social tokens are, and I think 2021 kind of proved that. And so here we are.
It was so exciting when you launched Hue. I remember, like, just in my own head thinking about, oh, this is so cool. Like all these different possibilities you could do with the social token, most of which start out with kind of like rewarding for participation and offering some sort of, redemption for those tokens for an NFT or something. Um, it was just, yeah, it was a really exciting time. It was still really in those very early days. And so having another kind of tool to utilize for giving a little something back to your fans and supporters, and just kind of opening up kind of another possible financial stream, or just it was a really cool time to be in the space and to see that kind of start from the very beginning. It was, I remember the newsletters and the Hughes days, and
Hmm.
just looking forward to going into your spot. You had, you know, pretty much one of the earliest spots in crypto voxels, now voxels, where we'd go in and hang out, and you had stuff up, and pretty early on, you had the first tracks up in there, and ways to go in and look around and claim some Hue. And it was just, yeah, I remember that as just such a kind of like, the world looked so wide open back then.
Hmm.
I mean, it still does in certain ways, but at that beginning, it just seemed like almost anything was going to be possible here. And of course, the role hack definitely set it way back as far as kind of like diving in and using those social tokens more. I think they did, not handle it the best. There should have been more communication that would have made everything a little more comfortable to just like get a get a bearing on, and move through. And instead,
Hmm.
there it was kind of a lull there, and we were all wondering like what's going on. But I'm glad to hear that Bradley was up on consensus and talking with Seed Club, which is another social token spot. So that's good to hear, and I think they're still doing the Roll podcast. I haven't necessarily listened to one real recently, but I did a while back, and then I see those sometimes pop up.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
and
I
something
was.
you said, Connie, just to bring
Mhm.
you to the elitist subject, I think you touched it right there. That's who I put in. And when I made the joke, when you're going to New York, believe me, you're not in my list of elitists. But yeah, the politics behind the community that a lot of people may not see or know about, created this elitist mentality for those that had those big bags, those that were able to influence. Um, if I bring back a very common, one of the biggest, I think, to this date, feud that ever happened was when Wellshark publicly wanted to have the Robness, Robness to be banned from Super Rare and Known Origin at the time. That's what it was for me. There was something happened. I don't know specifically when, but I think it's probably started off with this tri-roll communities and building these communities. It gave power to those that had the bags, and their influence in the community was huge. Let's not remember that when super rare comes a token and rare then becomes a DAO, the first proposition is to bring back those artists that were banned and were overwhelmingly voted back onto those platforms. That's why I was happy to see that occur, because it kind of stuck it up to those elitists to say, well, you know what? Yeah, you see, they had control at the beginning, but immediately when we gave back that power to the community spoke and brought back these guys in it.
Yeah, I vaguely remember that. I'm not, I don't really recall why Whale Shark took that position. Um, but yeah, I remember when he launched the whale token, and he didn't reach out to me directly. It was through Bradley, which I thought was lame. Like he could have really just spoke to me, but apparently to me it felt like a sideways sort of approach to get me to okay the whale token. Like he had my my Connie Digital logo on his whale.me website or whatever when it first launched to make it appear as though the innovator of social tokens was okay with this whale token, which I really wasn't. So I had him take that shit off. Because I thought it was some bitch shit. He should have just reached out to me like a man one-on-one and we could have had a conversation about it. But yeah, I mean, whatever. It is what it is. I don't know what's going on with those tokens right now. Where Mighty Moose at? That's what I want to know. Where's Mighty Moose?
Well, actually, that's it. I was communicating with Dragonade. I said, we good with Mighty Moose? He said, will be, yes. Don't see him yet, but I know there, he had issues with the verification bot, and Dragonade was taking care of him. And from what I can see, he should be in pretty soon. Right?
From mowing lawns to dropping bombs, Mighty Moose.
Oh, yeah. I'm looking forward to hearing from Mighty Moose. And there's so many things I wanted to bring back from the old Send days and some old posts. But yeah, Connie, so you see the what you just brought as a subject, that's what I mean by the elitist. And I think afterwards we can put other names that kind of acted like that. Let it be the Beeples and all the other big names that came afterwards, kind of pushed aside those innovation from content creators that unfortunately never got the recognition at the beginning. Don't get me wrong, but if today you would ask people about Try Roll, well, they wouldn't associate necessarily with who was the founding communities of those tokens, being I put both of you guys on top, being Skinny and Connie Digital, being the the innovators that were able to provide utility behind the ERC contract.
Yep.
Yeah. Shout out
And
to
I mean,
Skinny too.
Yeah. Big shout out to Skinny. It does show, kind of going through that, the success and evolution. If you look at like the super rare thing with some of those, Rob Ness and some of the quote unquote trash artists getting kicked off from somebody with a big bag kind of equaling a big say, to now after they dropped the rare token and having the DAO come and have equal more equal voting across participants and be able to bring those artists back on. So it is interesting to see how the evolution has moved. I think it's hard to get away from people with a big financial holding to not have that power. So it's a good kind of thought exercise to look at that progression. Of course, coming in, and especially in those early days and still now, people with the big monetary influence generally can move the needle, whether it's through some kind of shenanigan tradings or whatever. We've seen like we saw Luna come crashing down and stuff like that. I've seen different kind of theories and maybe a few facts on how that came together, and it's pretty messy. So there is that still to some extent, but we've also seen ways to sort of get around that and give a little more of the power to those community members that are interacting on said platform, for example.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm communicating with oh, there he is. Yes, he's in. Mighty Moose, the Mighty is in. You got the floor, dude.
How's it going? You guys hear me?
Yeah, we hear you loud and clear. We're so happy to have you on, Mighty. We were talking about you and all the, being an innovator of the space, being an OG artist. And the Connie is in the house as well. He's in his ear also. Go ahead. We'll let you say what you have to say.
Oh man, I just feel like I gotta get caught up. But what's up, Connie? It's good to hear. Be fun to actually hear your voice. It's funny, there's not very many of these guys that I've actually talked to. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to conversations around what this time and opportunity we find ourselves in with the market crash and kind of the shedding of all the noise and getting back to the focus on art and building and what this space really is special for. So yeah, just happy to be here with you guys and chat it up. So
Yeah, man, we gotta say, boy howdy, boy howdy,
right.
boy howdy.
Boy howdy.
I was
Yeah.
just gonna ask. I thought I heard a lawnmower. Are you? Did the markets crash that hard? Are you back to mowing lawns, bro?
Yeah, I'm hopping on my lawnmower. No, I'm in. I actually am having to go grab my my daughter, go pick her up from something. So I've got a little bit of time to chat, but I had to hop in my car. So I'm chatting with you guys on the way. So you're hearing my truck.
Super stoked you could make it. Oh man, it's been too long.
Yeah, for real. Is this easy?
Yeah, easy here.
Right on, man.
And Mighty, I gotta tell the entire community. I know I've had two project, and I have two kind of project on that's ongoing, being Satoshi Initiatives and Mag NFT, and both logos of both Satoshis and of Mag NFT are creation of Mighty Moose. Those logos were Mighty Moose creation, and to this day, I'm so thankful and grateful, especially the Mag NFT, because it's now a logo that's recognizable, within the community, and then that's thankfully to Mighty Moose. And I gotta give you props, Mighty Moose, because if there's this little group of artists that just kept creating, no matter where the market was, let it be at an all-time high or all-time low, you, Connie, and Skinny and all the other guys, you guys always were there just, not focusing on what was the value of ETH, but focusing on what was the value of your content that you were providing to the community.
Yeah, for sure, man. I mean, I think that's what it's all about. I mean, I think that's the reason why over the, as the space has exploded. I think that's why we fought so hard to try and retain a voice and a perspective in how things were going, and as well as fought to be known as OGs, because we came here, for something besides just the money. It was about an opportunity to share, create, and build together, and share a perspective with other people who connected around art and technology in a unique way that I think is unique to the crypto and crypto art space. And so, yeah, I think that is very much what we're about. It's about not about chasing after markets or prestige, but about chasing after a promise of what is, I think, available within this technology and what this community can be about if built and maintained correctly.
Absolutely. I think one of the most valuable things that's come out of this has been the
Uh-oh.
Oh,
Easy, are you there?
Yeah, we lost Ethan.
that's like, and that's how we cure cancer.
Oh man. Yo, I was gonna say though, I don't know about you guys, but like I haven't used Scent in about 2 years, and I kind of feel like that is part of the reason why we fight or have to fight hard or harder, is because Scent was a Web3 native social platform. Like Twitter is Twitter, right? And so like I feel like there needs to be something like a Scent to really like take off and be that thing for Web3 central. Like, not Twitter. Twitter's great, but it's not what I mean. Scent felt special. Like the first version of it with the like, I don't know, like the colorful logo with the different dots and shit, and like where you could place the bounties and you had the little seed and man, that shit was cool. Like I don't know why they changed it. I wish they wouldn't have changed it, but it is what it is.
Yeah, the sharing of graphics, I think, is what kind of put the nail in the coffin, because before we could literally share what we're working on and ask like, oh, you guys like this version or that version? Or if someone needed a poster made, they could say, hey, I need a poster for my podcast. This is what it's called. This is the vibe. Like that was so useful. And so in that rebranding to Scent 2, it did like, that's kind of when we all drifted apart more. I mean, into building other things. So it wasn't like a, wholly negative, but it did kind of feel like it took away this home that we had helped craft together.
Yeah.
And I know they've been doing some stuff lately. I haven't posted for a long time. I kind of kept at it, and I would post like once or twice a month, like, hey, I'm having a show on this day, or come hang out at this event or something. And then it sort of, the engagement just wasn't the same as the old days with the change seating and all that stuff. And so it just wasn't really, it wasn't really working. And so I haven't gone back much. They just did this thing called app.bio. And I guess it's more of like, where you could have information about you, your links to other networks, and you can mint NFTs at no cost, and people can collect those at no cost. So kind of like a POAP type NFT. And that seems pretty cool. I guess they're actually shutting down for a day or two, like maybe even today or tomorrow, and they're switching back to cent.co. And from what I grasp, I guess it'll kind of be merging like the Cent and this new app bio thing together, but I don't know all the details.
Interesting. Are they? I'm guessing since it's free, they're minting on Poly, right? Is that?
Yeah, I'm not sure what chain, but it must be Poly or XDAI or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I was just talking with I chatted with Dan Sickles a little bit recently, and was just kind of giving some perspective and history, and was talking about Cent and what I felt like was a really important part of the history to the space, and what a role that played in I think the development and kind of the gathering together of community. Because I think you're right, Connie. Like it really was. It was a Web3 focused platform, and so people came there for the same reasons, and it allowed us to communicate and gather around the same ideas, and create more in-depth conversation than you can have like on Twitter and stuff like that. If you were able to have long form interactions, and and it was just a bunch of weird people who were interested in something that most people knew nothing about, and so it allowed us to kind of gather around that and begin to build something in terms of community and connection that I think still survives to this day, which is something that is a lot harder to do in places like Twitter and stuff,
And not just that, Cent wasn't just about what we were doing in the space. Here's a post I know all of you will remember. You remember Sneaker Dad and his post about what happened to him personally with that strategy when he fell from that cliff and become paralyzed. Those were they were so personal. Those posts were so personal. They stayed with us to this day. I still remember that post. I still get shivers when I think of that post.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure. I think there was an opportunity to connect beyond. I think it started with being interested in a similar thing, and then grew into that where we were stepping out into sharing more and more about ourselves, which created that deeper connection.
Shout out to Spherical Art. He's in the chat. He's been dropping a lot of cool shit tonight. This old school Cent logo. I know you can't see it, Mighty Moose, but he dropped the old school Cent logo in the chat. Brings back such cool vibes. I miss those times, man. Like, we really need a fucking alternative to Twitter. I don't know what it is yet, but something.
Well, if there's somebody who's going to discover it, it'll be you, Connie, because you're the one who always go through. Like, okay, what's the thing that nobody else knows about, but is going to be cool at some point? I'll ask Connie.
I try, man. I really do try. That's the edge.
And what was so special? I know, like Vax was talking about devs. If we remember, all Stephen McKee, You know, it was a place that wasn't just about art. It wasn't just about designers. It was an entire community gathering together. We had devs there. We had content creators there. We had podcasters on there. It really, like you said, that was the social Web3 platform that allowed us to connect together in this specific niche, being the Web3 as a whole.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I still get, I've talked with Joel here and there, and he wants that to try and capture that vibe and that energy that we had back then somehow again.
Nice.
And so he's always talking to the guys at Scent, trying to figure out if there's something they can do to kind of pull back and go back to some of that what made that special. But I don't know if they're going to be the ones or if it's going to be something else. It's so hard to recapture that once it's lost within the same space, within the same technology. It's hard to rebrand and connect that again because you've got people who then came afterwards. When they started doing some of the rebranding and the reconfigurations around all of that came for a lot of different reasons. When they started to try and monetize it to a whole other level, I think that really brought in a whole new crew of people who were just trying to figure out ways to, grab some ETH and earn some stuff that wasn't really genuine.
Yeah, that's great. You're still in contact with Joel. We touch base every once in a while, and I don't know if I can share this just amongst us. I think we might be trying to meet up in NYC.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So I'm super excited and hope that happens because he had so much energy. I mean, the guy was just freaking on fire all the time. And just like such a crazy fun sense of humor. There was something that came up. I think it was actually just last Friday at public school. And I don't remember her name, but there was a woman that came on and was talking about, this idea she has to build something that started to sound a little bit like Scent. She wants to have this decentralized platform where people can come together and build and talk and hang out, but also add in, which is something we had, talked about back on Scent, is kind of like some sort of reputation type, positive interaction. And so her idea was that there would be a token that, you'd kind of be able to get through, doing these positive interactions. And then that would have like random, holders be queried kind of to vote other, people kind of like up or down. I wish I could give a better explanation because it was a long, it was a pretty in-depth conversation. But it struck me as like, this is kind of that Scent type vibe, that early Scent type vibe. And so to try and create something like that could be, even bigger and broader nowadays, but to pull in all those people that are really, trying to make, positive impacts through what they're doing, not necessarily like giving everything to charity, but, whether that's helping teach someone how to do something or, doing something that is positively impacting your neighborhood or your area or some type of movement. So kind of that positive social impact and interaction leading to a sort of reputation type thing. Very interesting.
Yeah, and you can't forget, Ethan, that Scent was ahead of its time because the back end of all that, with the seating and the way that it was structured, and it was all internal, an internal ecosystem for the ETH. That was like revolutionary. To this day, we haven't seen something like that was that powerful. Where these guys really, like, of course, the UI and we could see it, but everything that was behind it on the network side was genius for that time. Like, we had never seen anything that close to it prior to Scent.
Yeah. It was really unique. Connie, you toyed around with some of this stuff a little bit when you did your own little social network. For for a little while with the reputation and some of that stuff.
Yeah, I think reputation is going to be huge. Like when I got hacked in the beginning of the year, I think I realized that even more because the wallet that I lost was like my 2019 wallet. Like it had a whole bunch of reputation on chain type shit, right? But then I had to start off with a new wallet, and reputation on chain is like 0 to none at this point. So it's a big deal. Like I realized like, cause losing the money is one thing, but losing reputation and on chain activity is a whole other thing too. And I did want to say though, I think that like tipping, like the same way we like and retweet or comment on content, we should be able to tip, but not like with a bot. I mean, like it had something special where you could just earn money from your content. Like that needs to be a standard moving forward. Like what you just said, Mag, about it being like ahead of its time, it really was. Like it was some genius shit. I don't know why they changed it. I don't know why they changed it, but so be it. But yeah, I think a tip button universally everywhere. I think why don't we have that already? Like they've been trying for so long. I don't understand why we can't just get there. I'm not a dev, so I just talk shit. But yeah, I don't know.
I 100% agree. It leads to a way different interaction, I think, when it might pull some of the negativity back a little bit when people are being rewarded financially for adding something positive. And I think that was something that was able to kind of prove out because of that positive at that time positive financial, but also, it acted more, it was so much more than a like. Even if you didn't care about like the 50 cents or the dollar that came in, you were like, I was the one that received the bounty. People liked what I had to say enough to give me the dollar over someone else. So, it wasn't just the dollar amount, but it also had an effect for sure.
And to this day, it is the only place where you could be immediately rewarded for the content you created. And wasn't that the Web3 promise? To get rewarded for the content you produce. Here's just, you guys might remember Bytelong. He was on there. It changed his life. I still connect with Bytelong once in a while. He's doing super well. He was, he used to be a rice farmer making $5 US a week. And he changed his life around. He now lives in an apartment in Indonesia with his family, and he's like barely online anymore because he actually, it reminded me, you guys remember back in the late 80s, 90s, when micro loans were given out to these underdeveloped countries, and people could utilize these micro loans to build something off of it. I always thought Cent was that. Cent was a place where people could come in. You remember, people were making $100 US a week at times with their content. And for us, $100 like, but for some, like for Bytelong, $100 US is life changing in the circumstances that he had found himself.
I still think about that. It is one of the things, honestly, that pulled me into crypto in the beginning was the idea that people across the globe can transact in a way that is without barriers and give opportunity to people who to connect and exchange in a way that has never been possible before. And that kind of situation, that kind of story, to me is what makes crypto unique. It's what makes it special. It's what makes it impactful for a future. I mean, there's, for some people, it's an opportunity to maybe to do something to earn some extra money here or there or whatever. But it really can be life changing in terms of what opportunities it presents to people across the globe. And that's the thing that I think is missed often in the conversation around news and publications, that this stuff can really change lives for people. And it's often just like what stupid PFP got scammed and stuff like that lately for whatever number of ETH. It's all distracted about that, missing the what I think is the real power, the real purpose which is a global economy that's outside of control and manipulation of local governments, right?
Absolutely. I mean, I remember the day Byteline got his daughter her first bike, you know?
Yeah,
Like,
I
I
remember
remember
that.
that, like, you know? So,
Wow.
like, that is something we all share in this, like, it's so crazy how that came about. It's so special and so cool. So, getting back to that type of, meaning coming out of crypto is so important. And, I saw, what was it? It was like some random YouTube thing that came up, and it was actually showing and the YouTuber was showing how horrible this was. It was like a Fox News clip, Fox Business News clip or something, and like the guy was just this total dumbass interviewing, not even interviewing. He had these couple of guys on that made some Elon Musk shitcoin, and they like made a rocket with like Elon's head on a goat riding a rocket, and their whole coin, and they kept on like trying to say like the utility and the community, those were like the only words they knew. And the guy's like, think about the utility, nobody else is giving Elon Musk like a statue. And then they showed like this little tiny rocket statue that's like 20 feet tall, and they're like, you think he's going to be impressed? Like they put it next to one of his real rockets that are like like 500 feet tall, and it was just like the most silly gamey, horrible, just like grab for attention. And this guy was on, Fox News, like
yep,
basically telling people to buy it. Literally, his question was, why should someone's grandmother invest their life savings in your coin? And the guy was like, well, the utility in the community. I mean, no one else is bringing Elon a statue. And that was all they had. I was just like, oh man, no wonder people think it's a scam.
yeah,
Yeah, red
And
flags.
yeah,
yeah, Ethan, thanks for bringing back that bike thing, because to this day, for me, that is, for me, it was like I was, it was like almost a contribution that when I will always remember when Bike Long DM me and said, how can I use this Send platform? And I remember I told him, well, just write a post about your life. Take pictures of yourself, when you're at the farm with your buddies and having lunch. And he had made this beautiful post that's when he made that 100 something US dollars and was able to go buy his daughter her first bike at 8 years old. And to this day, it was, for me, it was like, that's what Web3 was all about. And it, to this day, it will always stay in my memory and in my heart. It's a contribution of the space. And it also showed that by supporting others, and by, like we've done, me, Ease, and Connie, and Mighty, by giving support to this community and a pathway to create content that will have some type of value to others, is the key of Web3. That's what it was all about.
Yep, I remember him with his posts with his buddies, and like a couple of them started posting. And then
yeah.
I don't know if you remember the tractor. There was like a huge like tractor crew that rolled through Send for a while there. Oh man.
Yo, I
Oh
think
man,
Rizzo was on that. Was Rizzo fucking with that? I think so.
Yeah, but Rizzo
that
was
sounds like
he was a bot at that time. I still remember we weren't sure if he was human or not. You remember?
Oh
we
yeah.
weren't we
Yeah,
weren't
yeah.
sure if that guy was human, because he would never post, but he was always the first one to see. To a point, I remember that we used to get it. Well, oh, fuck, Connie, we got to bring this back up. You gave me a gift on my birthday, which was the sent bell notification. And that was such a precious gift, because we all remember that bell. When that bell became red, we were like, okay, who tipped us? Who tipped us? Or who seated us? And it was always Rizzle at one point, where that when we would post and get that first notification, we all knew, okay, Rizzle got in. And it was like,
Oh
and
man.
how crazy is it how that whole crew has just the disbursement of everybody within the space, and how everybody's grown over these last like 3.5 years since we found each other back then. It's pretty wild when you think about who was involved in those early years at Scent, who connected, and where everybody's at this point. I think it shows. I think that some of that shows some of the specialness, not only of the platform but the timing. I think there's a real unique timing to all of that, where everybody was coming, trying to find innovation and all that stuff. And I think that there's some, as special as the mechanisms that Fent built, I think it was equally special the people who were involved.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I agree,
absolutely.
100%.
Yeah, 1000%. And talking about the old crew, what happened to Remy, dude?
Oh man,
Man, he was killing it at one point. He was like
I
top dog at
know.
one point. Yeah.
I reached out to Remy Dude recently, just to try and connect and see how he was doing, but I didn't hear back from him this time. Although I think it was probably like maybe 8 or 9 months ago. I think the last time we actually, had a quick back and forth, and he was doing good at that point. He was still with I think it was L'Oreal, and he had moved to like the top of their like green, ecology advisory department or something. And back then he mentioned, he was like, yeah, I'd love to kind of get back into things, but he was just like really swamped with that level of work.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
he was a fun guy.
yeah, and who cannot remember, driving with Ethan and Remy Dude podcast. Those were, man, that was so innovative. For the people listening right now, it was Ethan in his car and Remy Dude in his car, and they would, ask each other questions back and forth. And like, it was an amazing podcast. And I remember the one in the kitchen when he was cooking also as well. And those, oh man, those are just like amazing comebacks. Oh, look at that. Oh
You see
God.
that in the chat? Oh, I had to go to my old wallet for that baby.
Hey, the stamp collection. Connie, talk to us, because before the cassette, if I'm correct, you started off with the stamp collection prior to the cassette collection coming out, right?
Well, yeah. Well, yeah, I was just doing a whole bunch of shit. A whole bunch of stuff. So yeah, I mean, I think that was probably before the cassettes. Cassettes were like Known Origin, I think. Yeah, I think Known Origin was the first place. Shout out to those guys. I see you on there a lot, actually, Moose. I see that you promote them a lot. I haven't been on there for a while, but I'm assuming they're
I
gonna
love
be
those
at
guys.
New York. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I actually met David, right? I think that's his name, the
Yeah,
CEO.
David Moore. Yeah, I'm in contact regularly with him, and yeah, David is still around. David Moore is amazing.
Yeah, David Moore. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I got to meet him briefly. So, but yeah, man, this is so long ago. Like, so much has happened, man. Like, it's amazing. It's amazing to even be on this call right now and talking to you guys about this shit, to be honest.
Right? I
Yeah.
feel the same
True,
way.
true. Special and crazy.
And
Sure.
from your host, thank you guys. Thank you for accepting my invite. This is special for me as well.
For sure.
Yeah, thanks for organizing it. It's fun to chat with you guys and reminisce. I think, man, yeah, I think these next months are gonna be fun. I think it's gonna be interesting to see what all comes. Now that the space is quieted down and cleared out, man, I think there's gonna be some fun stuff that's gonna happen. With developments and everything, because I think people will finally have an opportunity to kind of breathe a little bit and think through what they're doing and why they're doing it, and the people who are here for the right reasons are going to really dig in and get back to trying to innovate.
Yeah. Anybody touch base with Clay Cal 303?
Yeah, I have.
Quite a while.
Yeah, I was actually gonna say, holy shit, how can we not talk about Clay Cal? Because you remember his first scent with
Yeah.
actually, yeah, exactly. I still reach out to him. He's doing really well. The guy is a hustler, man. He works 2 jobs. I know, trying to make a living for his family. He never got the recognition that he should have. He did on Scent. He got the recognition on Scent, but was never able to expand his base afterwards.
He pulled back quite a bit when the space really started to blow up. I stayed in contact with him here and there on Twitter, but he's starting to get active again. I think as the space has slowed down, I think he's starting to get active again. I think that Faces still has some editions left, if I remember right.
I still hold one in my wallet.
Version.
Yeah, it's a 25 edition. It was his first one that he had made was a 25 edition.
Yeah, I think that one's still sitting there with the face and the logo and scent and everything. It's so funny, man. I feel like if people actually like dug into the history of this stuff, like it's so rich, and it's all just sitting right there. Like you were talking about, Connie, like that on-chain history is there. But everybody's so desperately trying to create like these stupid narratives to try and capture like these moments and stuff that don't even really exist. And there's such a rich history of those who've actually been here doing all this stuff. And that was one of the things I was actually excited about with talking with Dan, is I feel like he really wants to try and understand the history that goes beyond just like the surface stuff. And if we can get some more people like that who want to try and tell the story of how we all got here, that gets me excited.
I got good news for you, Mighty. There's a 10-page article that's going to be in the Mag NFT historical issue coming out. 10 pages of that, of the old school scent, how it came about, who were the names that out there, and not just the content creators, the Stephen McKee and everything. And in the actual issue, there is embeds of specific posts that, marked scent, like the one from Sneaker Dad is revisited again in the historical issue that should be coming out in early August.
Nice.
Awesome.
You're always hard at work, Mag. You're always hard at work.
He's always doing stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man.
Facts.
Yeah. So Mighty. So Dan is the director. I don't really have all the details. We kind of briefly spoke, but so he's directing a film, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's trying to put together a documentary on the space, and Kai is involved with that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Which and then he's talked with Nate Alex and talked with some other OGs within the space, and I think he's chatted with Rizzle, or is gonna chat with Rizzle. I think NYC. I think he's gonna do a bunch, and really, I mean, just talking with him, he really wants to try and capture, I think, the heart of the space and what the real innovations are, and try and capture the story that's underneath all the I guess the attempts at FOMO and all those the hype, that's all that kind of stuff. And so I was pretty skeptical. I reached out to him on Twitter when I saw what he was doing, and I was like, would love to chat. And he kind of got the sense right away, and he knew what I was doing. I was like, I've seen other people come in and say they're going to try and make a movie, but they, all they do is talk about Pack and the $1 million sales, and
right.
and beats exactly, and don't really attempt to try and understand the actual rich history. And so he got that right away, and he's like, look, I'm trying to understand. I want to learn. I want to hear and stuff. And so I was pretty impressed talking with him that he's really approaching this from like a humble place with it. So
I think that's probably I was just going to say, I don't know if anybody has addressed it in this way, but like pre and post Beeple, they're like two different worlds, right? So like pre Beeple, post Beeple. Yeah. I don't
Absolutely.
know. Yeah.
I'll always remember talking about just Beeple for a run. So Isha from Maker's Place, because Mag NFT collaborated a lot with Isha and Maker's Place. I remember when Isha had sent me the article introducing people to the ecosystem prior from him launching with Christie's Auctions House. And I remember reading it and going, and I didn't know who Beeple was. I didn't know the guy was a digital artist doing 1,500 days, blah, blah, blah. And I remember reading it and going, okay, here it comes. Here's, here it is. Big names coming soon, And next thing you knew, like you said, Connie, that kind of blew up because if you look within a 90-day span, you had him and you had NBA Top Shot. So you had two different type of offering, right? But both being very successful and providing a visibility in the traditional market that we didn't have before. And just before the people, what I just shared, that's proof. That is an on-chain NFT that nobody can take away. It's on a public ledger. And if you look on there, there's the names, Mighty Moose, Connie Digital, Skinny, and that is on-chain with a PDF file attached to it. And that was minted back in December 5th, 2019. And there was only 18 NFT issues of this, which had a PDF attached to it via Codex protocol. So, a lot of people are trying to say that, they're the first magazine or the first this. This was the first content, like media that nobody had done before, where the visibility was gathered within one specific medium, being a magazine, where everybody was featured and highlighted. And you can see Mighty Moose and Connie and Skinny are on there.
And Coldy, and a lot of money. Quite the addition, yeah.
Just going back to what you said, Connie, I'd like to say, I like to look at it as there's a post Beeple being set and displayed next to Mighty Moose at ETH Denver 2020 and previous and post that. I like to think that I was involved in launching his career.
Really? Wait, what happened? What happened?
Nice.
Where, tell me that story. What?
So there was an art competition for ETH Denver 2020. It was one of the earlier ones. I think NYC did one that kind of flopped, but ETH Denver, you could submit your work and have it, and they were going to have it displayed and all this stuff, and then it was going to go up for auction. And I submitted a couple pieces. Bard actually submitted a couple pieces, but Beeple was in that. That was kind of his first real coming out into the space. And BitBuzz, Steve has a video where he's walking around, and Beeple is right next to my two pieces, and so I like to say I launched Beeple's career.
Hey.
Nice. It was a pivotal point because with those super successful Beeple sales, all of a sudden you had people going, "Oh my God, it's a magical, money making machine or something." And so, you had a lot of people coming in with that first versus that being something that could be, financial benefit could come out of my passion towards music or sculpting or dancing or, painting or whatever your art form was. It kind of turned things to money was the main goal instead of, building community, expressing myself, sharing my art, and of course with the hope to sell that and have some financial input. But it really did kind of flip the script a little back to like, old paradigm, big money artist type of, that was the first time of an event like that happened in this space. So it's a pivotal point for sure.
Well, I think Connie said it well earlier. There was no politics involved in those days. Yeah. Now today there is.
Yeah, you got that right.
True.
I was talking. Maybe you guys can give me your perspective on this. I was talking with a lot of Givenchy Saint Nakamoto sale that happened. I feel like that was a really, obviously, the artwork itself is just awesome, but the bidding war that took place between Matthew and I think it was Robness and maybe one other person that ensued over that piece that ended up going for like 11 ETH or whatever. I feel like that was I feel like that was a really big moment in the early community, in the early space, because all of a sudden as much as Beeple selling for whatever millions of dollars his stuff did, I feel like that was where maybe some of the genesis of that began, and I feel like we saw a lot of new collectors come into the space after that that began to purchase probably on speculation and some of that stuff. But I think I can't remember if Whale Shark was a little before that or after that. I can't remember if Jimmy was involved heavily before that, but there, some of those bigger collectors started to come right around or right after that time.
That's a great point too, because that was where then after that we saw a lot more bidding wars, whereas before it wasn't like there wasn't more than one person making a bid, but it was kind of almost like you could call shotgun on a piece, like you'd be like, oh guys, I want that one, and other people would kind of back off, right? And then that was when it started getting more heated, and it was like, oh, the price could just soar from there, and we hadn't seen that kind of activity before.
Yeah, this is spherical art, and I have to say that Matthew showed a lot of belief in NFTs when he joined that bidding war and kept going to win this.
Oh yeah,
100%.
And I mean,
100%.
I wouldn't be here today without Matthew really walking me through the onboarding on Cent and kind of saying like what it was about, and throwing me a couple bucks of ETH into my Cent wallet so that I could post. Like that was all super pivotal. I had never had a positive social media experience before that, and I had never really done social media. Maybe I had a Facebook account, but I never liked it and never used it. And, maybe I had set up a Twitter, but same thing. I was like, what's the point of all this? It seems pretty toxic. But that changed my whole perspective and gave me another way of looking at quote unquote social media. And then that's where I got so much inspiration about blockchain. I mean, I wouldn't have dropped that first rap that led to me now working with Cypher if it weren't for Connie Digital inspiring me. So like we had these all these people, either really supporting and understanding some vision or pushing tech forward, doing events in crypto voxels and stuff. I mean, that really helped me understand what was possible, that I could be creative with my own arts and share that and maybe sell some. And then, getting into the podcasting and the kind of community building, it all sprouted from, Matthew and Josie and Connie and, just the whole crew back then that were really, pushing some boundaries.
When Matt and Rizzle started doing the Cent podcast, that's what really did it for me. Just listening to that and getting excited about NFTs. That was really early that he was doing that. I found him on Spotify.
Yeah, that was a fun
Still going strong.
podcast when they first started with that, for sure.
The Matthew and Rizzle show is still strong, right? Like,
yeah,
it's so OG. It's so OG. He's had everybody on there. Matthew, shout out to Matthew. Like,
yeah.
Connie, you sound like Matthew.
Do I?
You do.
That's a compliment because I love listening to his voice, Paul. He has a great talking voice. So, yeah, that's cool.
You guys remember when he was interviewing the Cent users and stuff? And I think it was before they started the Matthew Rizzle thing. He'd set up times and set up the voice chat and ask different interview questions and stuff, and then do the post after that before they started going with the audio and stuff.
Yes.
Yep. Oh yeah, the long form, interviews, and he'd type them up. Yep.
Well, he was building community.
And just to bring back about the question of Whale Shark, I can tell you guys, because actually when Whale Shark reached out to me back in the end of December, he had only God of War NFTs. He was a lot into that game. And he came in exactly, I can tell you, I just shared it. That was the first editorial that he did with the magazine with me. And that was dating in the end of January. He came right after that 11.12 ETH, which I also shared the article. It was featured in the magazine. But Whale Shark came right after that. So right after that auction, that's when Whale Shark comes in and starts buying art like crazy, like everywhere, on KO, on Maker's Place, and on Super Rare.
Mm-hmm.
I thought so. That piece, to me, that piece and that time and that whole event I think that is a pivotal moment in crypto art history. That I don't, I think all of us kind of watched it and we're like, wow, this is amazing. This is what just happened. But looking back on it, I think, man, I think that was a huge moment for the space.
Absolutely. And that piece of art is so epic too.
And
Like
don't
it's
forget,
very cumulative.
and just to remind the community, 11 ETH was worth $1,600 at the time.
Yep.
That's wild.
Man.
And we're all complaining about it being one of them being.
Right.
Definitely flips the perspective some,
You got to talk about the Sense meetup becoming the Whip meetup. That was pioneering as well.
True. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
it went from, 7 or 8 or 12 people getting together in crypto voxels and just checking out somebody's work, talking about whatever. Sometimes we just fly around and find somewhere cool and then talk
Yeah.
about like, oh, what are you doing? What are you doing? And that has now evolved to the whip that then found its, its everyday kind of weekly thing. And here we are a couple years of, the actual whip having gone on almost every, we take a few weeks off a year, but pretty much every week on Thursdays in, now we've probably done them in, I don't know, 10 different metaverses or something. And they pull in, hundreds of people, most of them. So that's a historical one too. I think the whip, there could be a whole like crazy, I don't know, documentary or book or something about just whip meetups.
But guys, let me recall you guys. What was the inspiration for the web meetup? It was, you remember Mint Base meetup? That's where it all started. Mint Base was the first one to start meetups in their incredible crypto voxel build at the time, and it just disappeared out of thin air. But I remember Connie being on that huge wall. Do you remember the huge wall with all the sponsors or collaborators that were involved? Mintbase was actually the first place where actual meetups on a regular basis was happening, and then all the other ones, the Whip and everything, came along afterwards.
Well, Conlon had a group that would bring artists in and look at their artwork and maybe sometimes ask for comments about the art.
Yep.
Do you remember that?
Right.
Conlon had a special meeting.
You talk about a cool guy. Conlon that guy is awesome.
Oh man, and with like, coming out swinging early with the NFT scribe. I remember that was like, holy shit, you can sign an NFT, another layer on top, Damn.
That guy is willing to try anything.
Yeah, we'll wrap it up as well, Digital. We went a little over, but it was so normal because with all these OGs in the house. Mighty Moose, my friend, thank you. Like listening. I know that you don't like Discord, and I can understand why. But thank you so much. For myself, you made my year. Like this tonight was an amazing time for me to recall and all these memories and have you guys all in one channel. I'm grateful. Same thing, Connie Digital. I'm grateful. Thank you so much. Paul Spherical Art, which was a huge content contributor for the Send platform. Ethan, and listen, I say you're my brother, and you're my digital brother without a doubt. You're an amazing personality. You're the first one that brought up music and comedy, and look where we are today. We're seeing comedy clubs in the virtual world. We got Decipher all around. And also, thank you, everybody. Thanks, guys. I'll let you guys have the last word, but from the bottom of my heart, I thank you for making this happen.
Oh, thank you, Mag, for making this happen. This was such a treat. Incredible to get to just hang out with some of the old crew. Here we are on voice because most of what we used to do was kind of text back and forth or maybe hopping in a metaverse back in the day. Just an absolute pleasure to get to link up with everybody here today. So thank you, Mag.
Yeah, thanks, Mag.
Yeah, thank you, Mag, for organizing this, asking me to and the other guys to hop in, and it's so fun to hear and talk with you guys and reminisce, and reminds me the the funny, deep connections that have happened over a purely digital environment, which many would have said would not be possible, but I think the long-standing relationships prove that wrong. And so I'm glad to chat with you guys. Excited for continuing to follow everybody's development and growth in the space, and to see what happens going forward. So you guys rock.
Are we saying goodnight? I'm sorry, I just had to step away. Are we still going? What's going on?
Yeah, we're saying
we're
saying
having emotional goodbyes. Little
emotional
tearjerkers here.
goodbyes. And I wanted to tell you, thank you so much, Connie, for coming. You really made you made my night, and everybody that was involved, Mighty and Ethan and Paul and everybody else. You really made my night. I really thank you very much. I very much appreciate accepting the invitation.
Hey man, thank you for inviting me. I appreciate it. If I can make time, I always try to make time. So I appreciate you for even reaching out. So always happy to be here. Always happy to talk to you guys. So, until we do it again.
Yeah, let's definitely do this again. Definitely also looking forward to seeing everybody who's going to NFT NYC. So with that, much love, fam.
Yeah, everybody. So thank you for everybody that tuned in. Look at that. Make sure to get that poll up. That will be one hell of a historical poll up. Thank you again for everybody in the back end. Dragonate, it's Carolina Doe, and everybody else involved. Let it be Ethan, and also Ken Wolf and JB. I saw JB in there. Thank you guys. You make this place special for us. Token Smart family is part of that OG. Maybe Token Smart wasn't around at that time, but the concept of Token Smart, it almost went from, in a way, I think Ethan will agree, we went from Cent to Token Smart.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically that's what happened. Once we lost sight of Cent, we needed a new home, and Token Smart became that home. So, and who makes that possible is Sandy, Drago, like I said, everybody else involved, Ethan, JB, Dragonate, everybody involved. Thank you so much, and great show. Very happy about it. I'm looking forward to next week, of course, but it's gonna be hard to beat this one. But I'll try to always, bring you guys content that you can enjoy, and podcasts that are fun to listen to. With that, my name is Magmaster. I appreciate everybody listening in, and wishing you everyone a good remainder of the week. And I'll end like this because I always used to, and I did last time. Remember, guys, if you go downtown in your metropolitan area, there's people in needs. And if you make a little lunch bag, grab that paper brown bag, make yourself a nice sandwich with love, put a little juice box with an apple and a granola bar. And when you hit your downtown metropolitan area, you'll find somebody that will be appreciative and will give you much love and a big smile. And you can make somebody's difference in a day. And it's essential. We need, we don't just need to support each other on the Web3. We need to support each other as a whole. So with that, I'm signing off. My name is Magmaster. Love you. And like Ethan likes to say, love and whipsy to everybody. Ciao.